there's can I talk to them real quick to the group just because
sure.
being the warrior he is?
Sure.
All right, so I want to in character or just simply read it out real quick.
I don't know what you want to do, so it's up to you.
Okay, it's very easy. As they're turning on the lanterns, Darius, being nervous and jittery, is going to remind everybody, even though they've heard it 10 times before, remember we were told that on the top of the hill there's a monastery. Remember that the Lionel, the guy with the fleas, he told us that there's a sleeping dragon in the caverns in the hill, in addition to the monastery. The old-timer said that there's ogres on the hill. He also said there's a cemetery with ghouls. Maggie, sweet Maggie, said that there's 2 old women here who can help us. There's so many directions we can go with this. And there's more, but I'll keep it there.
Well, I also have a dragon.
I have a short bit to add to that. Maggie said that there are 2 old women who live on the hill across the river. She's never met them, but they're supposedly helpful. They're probably very old. Slavers bring people to the hill for some reason. Lionel said that there is a monastery, probably a hideout for criminals now, and he believes a sleeping dragon lies in the caverns beneath. The old-timer that I talked to said a band of slave-trading ogres use the hill as a base for their activities. He also mentions that a group of ghouls haunt the old cemetery there, and that the cemetery is haunted. A bubbling lake of lava is thought to be at the lowest end of the caves of the hill, and the slavers sometimes bring slaves there to be sacrificed.
Mikilla will speak up, saying, there are many varying views of what denizens operate on the hill. I also heard of an old lady, but that she is at the top of the hill and she is a witch, but has not been seen or heard from for many years. Additionally, there's supposedly an army of orcs embedded in the various crevices that the hill affords them. I don't know if all of these things are actually there. Sounds a little
Convoluted?
overblown.
Well, if we ever come
the hill's
into...
just an excuse for people's fears.
Yes.
You know, just
I think we shouldn't put much faith in the fears of old wives. Let's pack up, boys.
Just like the sun seeks the leaf seeks the sun, I think we should seek out these old ladies and find out more about the lay of the land before going up against dragons and orcs and ogres and who knows what else.
Zachary, don't forget the ghouls. They mentioned ghouls.
And the ghouls, yes.
Thank you.
Easy there, Derry. Easy.
It's ghouls.
So, as I've stated, Zachary, Dardania, the 2 of you easily spotted the trail that leads up to the side of the hill here. The rest of you, when they pointed out, it seems to be, from this vantage point, the only immediate means to begin traversing up the hill that would not require climbing. You are walking, but you're not actually having to take out climbing gear and climb up on the side there. Is that the area that we're proceeding to?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay. Perhaps after 20 to 30 yards of a relatively steep climb, Zachary, you notice that the trail will continue roughly northwesterly, but it also is turning south and north. So you've hit a T intersection on this old on this old muddy, overused trail that's just been trampled down. It's, perhaps 10 feet wide in all directions. Lots of thick overgrowth and bush hanging off to the sides and trees creating a canopy. But you've hit a T intersection where your options are to go northwesterly, southwesterly, or, west. You have 3 options.
Zachary will go down on his haunches and you'll inspect the 3 leading away trackways, can he discern if any of the trackways are used more than the others?
So he may be able to. Go ahead and make a tracking check in the tower, please.
While he's doing that, how long did it take us to get to this intersection?
This took you maybe 10 to 15 minutes of
Okay.
climbing time. Obviously, everyone taking their time, making sure that no one was slipping. The only one who seems to be really well balanced is the dwarf, which is unusual because most of the time traveling with him, he seems to be the slowest individual. But this seems to be his area, his ground, his home type surface. He's happy to be, on this. So what Zachary notices is that it appears as if the trek to the north has received the most recent activity. You're going to guess that the half a dozen, maybe upwards of a dozen sets of footprints you see coming from the south, going to the north there, are about 4 days old. There are more tracks that lead to the west than there are leading to the north, but the tracks that you can see leading to the west are in excess of 2 weeks, maybe pushing a month, somewhere between 2 weeks to a month, and much of the rain has washed out the finer details of exactly how much is there. There are no real tracks leading to the south. The only tracks that are coming from the south, not leading to the south.
Okay. And then would I be able to discern whether they are made by a human or a humanoid?
So, given the current situation and the current weather, your best guess is that they are human-sized footprints going towards the north. Moving towards the west, your almost instinct tells you it's human-sized footprints, but they really have been washed away too much for you to, really stake your word upon that.
Okay, I will relay all of this information to the party.
Which bearing leads to the hill?
Sorry.
Well, west would take you further up the hill. North would take you slightly up the hill, depending on whether or not the northern section of the trail turns further towards the west or not. From this vantage point,
Where would you reckon these ladies are? I
They're
turned to
supposed to be
Dora.
at the top.
Do we want to go straight to the top, or do we want to give our scouts a chance to go around and have a better understanding what we're walking into?
What's the cover like at this point?
it's
I
quite
assume it's
thick. There's lots of brush. The canopy of trees itself, the leaves are beginning to fall because it's that time of the year and the weather is changing, but there's still a very thick canopy here. It might as well be early evening with the cloud cover as far as how much light you have.
Okay. So circling, to the north, say, isn't going to leave us more visible to anybody up on the hill than going west into, up.
Yeah, to your understanding, there's nothing that is an obvious high point of vantage that's going to let someone see you. Most of the trail that you can see is going to be covered from the top by the canopy of trees and the bushes that are growing around the trails.
Okay, let's try to rely on what intel we got and go to the top of this hill. See if we can find some allies or somebody who knows the area better.
I know we're calling the sky blue, but Michaela and Zachary, all the NPCs kept mentioning, ambush sites and pitfalls. So, sky's blue. You know how to do your job, but heads up, I guess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I plan to
We're-
live to a
we're-
ripe old age.
We'll move
Yeah.
cautiously and deliberately up the west trail.
Not a problem. As we start to
Does that
slowly
sound-
maneuver up towards the western section, by 10 a.m., we have gone maybe another 100 yards in total distance, but climbed perhaps 60 more feet, up with a slightly steeper incline. This trail is going to continue. Sure, you can ask me anything you want to. Oh, you're talking to Hector. Sure, you can ask Hector whatever you want to. Go ahead.
No, it's just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask Hector if he wanted me to hand him the spear, if he was going to throw it, or depending on the situation, he'll tell me what to do.
After I've thrown the one I'm carrying.
No, that was the intent. All right, got it.
By 10:15, you've hit another intersection on this trail. The trail will continue towards the west. It will turn, towards the north, but very quickly take a western turn. You can see that from where you are. It's just a few yards to the north before it takes a sharp turn towards the west. And then towards the south, it will also curve towards the west. But you're at another, cross section, a four-way intersection here.
Okay, I'll check the intersection again.
Okay, make another
same
tracking
as
check in
last
the
time.
tower there. At this point, it looks to you as if all four sections of the trail, including the section that you have been following, because you're coming up from the eastern side, and there's 9 people behind you, are almost all equally used. Everything appears to be fairly well traveled within the last couple of days, and dozens of humanoid-sized footprints. Everything from slightly smaller than your foot to maybe 1.5 times the size of your foot. Some of them heavier and deeper in the ground that the rain and mud hasn't washed away, indicating that they were probably more heavily armored. That's the only significant difference that you can notice, and that appears to be moving towards the south.
So I could reasonably assume that this was actually quite a well-used trail.
Yes.
And
you can assume that more recently, the only difference that you notice is that heavier, individuals, weight-wise, moved to the south, probably indicating that they are carrying or wearing, armor, gear, as opposed to traveling light.
Or are bigger.
Yes.
Any indication of a wagon trail of any sort?
Oh, there's no wagons at all. We're only on a trail that's maybe 10 feet wide, and it's mostly an incline up to this point. Even where the trails are cutting off, you're going to be having different types of inclines or declines. So it'd be almost impossible to put a wagon on this hill.
I suggest we keep going uphill.
And I would presume that the ogres are down that way, and I point to where the heavier tracks are moving. You said south, eh? Is that
Yes.
correct? Yeah. Moving off towards the south.
Is that lower or higher elevation?
It's probably going to be a step down before it starts to ascend again. From what you can glance from this point, looking to the south, it appears as if, maybe 24 steps, it will turn back towards the north.
Okay. If we keep going west, are we still climbing the hill?
Yes. And if
Okay.
you're going north, you're still climbing the hill.
I suggest we make a choice between west or north.
Could I make a gut feeling decision on which one is faster?
Of course.
With hill.
Sure, what's your gut telling you?
Northern one.
Okay. So we're going to
Agreed.
branch off to the north itself here. Begin moving. Probably the incline is a little more steep here. It's quite a change. And after some 60 yards, another trail running north and south crosses into this trail. But the trail you were on that was going north has made a sharp turn towards the west and is still rising steadily. So you have another choice here. You can continue following the trail as you are, which is turning sharply towards the west, or you can try to go north or south, or you can backtrack to wherever else you may have been.
The path that's crossing us, is it a bigger or smaller path?
Roughly the same
the same.
size is your first immediate guess.
And the one we're on is the more used of the two paths?
Yes,
So,
definitely the path that you were on is the more used of the two paths at this point in time.
Okay. I suggest we keep going straight. And it
He's on.
seems to be very, very busy here. So I would be very aware for ambushes.
I would agree with you. If everyone else is agreeing with you.
Yep. Consensus.
Yeah, Zachary's going to move forward, and he's going to attempt to hide in shadows as he moves.
So you're able to almost certainly move in shadows, but that's going to slow you down even further, because that means that you're moving half of the pace that you are. And if you successfully hide in shadows, the people behind you won't really be able to follow you. So do you still want to try?
Okay. No, that's fine then.
Okay, I just wanted to make
Can't
sure.
follow me then.
Yeah, because if you're successful at it, you just slipped off into the side, and they're like, "Where did he go?" Which would be, the great way to set up an ambush for them. We just don't want to do that just yet, right? It's not possible from where you are, Calith. Just to answer your question,
Sure.
you can't look out for traps that are 25 feet in front of you. You can look for traps that are in the area you are in, but again, you might have to call attention to the other people in the party to maybe slow down a bit for you, because it's not something you can do at your normal speeds. You have to intentionally slow down to start looking for such things. There is one elf in this party, and he has a natural ability to notice certain hidden types of things that are, maybe trap doors, those kinds of things. And there is a dwarf who has a natural ability for pits, to detect pits and traps and deadfalls and things. Neither of those are in the lead right now. There's no need to actually have a map up right now.
Okay.
When we put a map up in Fantasy Grounds, it's for tactical situations only. The rest of the time, I've noticed that people have a tendency to try to drag miniatures across, a 1,000 foot wide dungeon, and it just ends up being that's annoying. So I only put up maps when we need a tactical situation. The rest of the time, people can just map, just like we're at a tabletop, right?
Yeah, I was just making sure I hadn't closed anything.
But generally speaking, I'm just answering questions to individuals that had a few things there. What I would like for everyone to do, though, is first thing I want is for Hector to make a danger sense check, please.
Copy that. That would be under abilities or
It's a skill.
skills?
Just make it in the open.
Okay, so on the... Roger that.
So you realize that something in the wind is just not quite right, and you smelt the faint scent of decay. Everyone else, you have to make a surprise roll. If you have alertness or any other skills that will help you with that, you are more than welcome to make those skill checks first. But danger sense, you realized, so Hector will not be surprised. But everyone else must make a surprise check. Make it in the open, don't make it in the tower. You have to know whether you are surprised.
Where do I find the surprise check?
The main tab of your character sheet. Look down towards the bottom section of the main tab of your character sheet.
Got it.
Is alertness in the public or in the open or in the tower?
Alertness is in the open because you have to know if you succeed, because it'll give you an additional +1 if you do succeed. So this time before you make your surprise check, add +1.
Okay.
Alrighty, give me just a moment.
That orcish sense of smell tips me off just in time.
Sorry, are we able to change the contrast of the color font?
No.
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 I think I did that wrong. Do I drag that? Or just click it?
You can double click it or you can drag it.
Okay, because mine didn't go.
What are you? What are the color fonts in the chat box? Are they annoying you?
No.
Yeah, the contrast is hard to see them.
It's tough
Yeah.
to read them against the gray.
Okay, so I won't use this theme next time. Sorry about that. It's my because if I use a different theme, it's a different color.
Fair. Yeah, it's just hard to read what it says.
So Kalendric and Mikhailo are surprised. Please give me just 1 second. My combat tab has decided to disappear on me.
We're both looking in the wrong direction.
Well, it's just windy. It's rainy. You've got lots of noisy people around you. Some individuals are attempting to figure out what is going on in other areas. So it's not just that you're not paying attention, and it's not really all on you either. So,
I know. I just said before this checks that Mikhailo was watching to the rear. So
Yeah, soon as Hector sniffed the air, I saw them coming.
just letting my combat tracker sort of load now. It didn't want to load for a moment.
Is this an environment in which I could have carried my shield and spear, or should I have stowed them?
Well, you can carry your weapons as long as you're not gripping them, so intently. And the spear would help you in climbing. You could use it, sort of like a walking stick.
Okay, cool.
All right, so a sound that goes over the wind. We really should try to create something that can change the dynamic lighting. That would be something we can work on. I got a couple of guys that we could talk to about that. Anyway, back to what I'm referencing here. There was a sound, and then like a gentle green flash, some 100 or so feet ahead of you on the trail that you were on, where you can see something glowing and perhaps the rattle of bones, and you know that a half a dozen or more skeletal figures rose up from the ground. Some of you may be able to see or make out some of them. I'm going to share the map with you now.
No, we are not ready for dead.
Share map. What is the deal? Why is it telling me I can't share with you? View. Hold on just a moment, gentlemen. My map is not letting me share with you.
I'm gonna go get some more coffee.
Yeah, I do apologize about that. I'm sorry about this delay.
You're good, buddy. VTTB like that.
Fantasy Grounds. Let me make sure everything else is set up properly. The map does not wish to move. Let me close. You guys are going to have to give me just a moment. I might have to create another map. This one does not wish to move at all. Have no idea why. Okay, so finally I got it to move, and I should be able to share with everyone. Yeah, there we go. Share record. Sorry about it taking so long there. So this is the trail that you were on. At parts of the trail, it's wider than 10 foot here in this section, but in much of it, it is not. So we only had 2 individuals, as I said, who were surprised. Kalendric and Mikhailo will not get to declare an action. I'm just going to ask Alaric, what's your intended action? We will assume that Alaric right now is contemplating what he wants to do. Caleth, what's your intended action?
Sorry, I was not pushed to press the push. I would like to stick to the group, but also the skeletons are ahead of us, so I might move a little bit north into, but not too far away.
So if you're just moving, then that's just the default initiative on the main tab of your character sheet. Docky?
I will stick with the group. I won't be making any movements at this time.
Okay, so you're just holding right where you are. Dardania.
Yep.
I too am holding right where I am.
Okay. Darius?
Spear is not the best weapon for skeletons. I'm gonna stab my spear into the ground and draw my longsword.
Okay.
Again, slashing is not good, but it's all I got.
Not a problem whatsoever. Hector?
Hector, he's going to move forward half speed, take a parrying stance.
Not a problem. Valian.
I'm going to cast light on my shield.
Okay.
And
so that's the casting time of the spell. And
basically, I'm just taking a defensive stance, I guess.
Okay, so not a problem. Just that's the casting time of the spell, light, for your initiative. Zachary.
Zachary will move off about 10 feet to the south and ready his bow to shoot on any of the skeletons.
Okay, so that will be the initiative with your bow, and that's when you can move. So the initiative is the orange square there by your bow, right? Alrighty, so whoever has rolled initiative, go ahead and do so.
I'm just regular initiative.
Yeah, well, who just said I'm just regular initiative? Who said that?
Hector, parrying and all.
Yeah, that's just regular movement initiative.
Just movement on my side as well.
Okay, yeah. For the most part, most of you are just holding where you are, and two of you are surprised. So, Kel didn't yell that out. He is surprised and taken off guard as to what is happening. So Kel did not yell that out. Dardania, you're holding where you are. Daki, you're holding where you are. Kalendric, you're looking around and just now beginning to notice that there is something occurring. Hector, you can move to wherever you were moving.
That is, how many squares is half me of 12? 6?
Yes.
But
you're currently not moving at that because you're on hill, rocky ground. Your movement is actually 9 in this terrain. So half of that is 4.5.
Alright, and to move is just a drag and pull situation, right? How do I turn corners? I don't want to go through my...
So drag up and then let go, and then click again to drag forward.
Oh, I got you.
So essentially, you have about 25 feet is what you can move. That's where you want to go?
Yep.
Okay, so you have moved to that point. You can hear the first of these skeletons, waggling towards you, maneuvering as quickly as they can downhill, but they themselves also are faced with a similar thing to you, which lets you know one thing: they're not dwarven skeletons. Alaric?
Okay, I'm gonna move so that... who's the other guy with the lantern?
Mikello, he's surprised this round.
Okay, never mind. I will move to behind Hector so that he has more light.
You have a movement of 4, so you can move 20 feet because you are lightly encumbered, and the terrain takes off 5 points of this.
So
20 feet is what you can move.
There you go, something like that. How did I get 20.6?
That's close enough. It's fine. It's just the way the map measures it. So. All right, another one of these skeletons is trudging forward. You can see the green glow in its eyes, but not much more. Mikello, you are now fully aware that battle is about to break out, and you sort of curse yourself for, looking behind you when you should have been paying attention and looking to the front. Another creature, stumbles forward, suffering just as most of you are from the terrain disadvantage, as another one does. Valian, you have cast your light spell. If you can just click cast so that we've got that, and I'll put the effect. Did you have yourself targeted? Great, yes. So the effect went on you. Wonderful. You put the effect on you. I forgot you know how to use Fantasy Grounds.
Yes, sir.
Just end your turn in the combat tracker for me, if you don't mind. And Kaleth, you said you were moving a tad bit.
I'm going to move up here, and that's about it.
Raleigh!
Okay, not a problem. Maneuvering up into more of the heavy bush there. Somebody just yelled out something that sounded like...
Oh,
Dolly?
sorry, my dog. Polly, my dog barked at my wife who's pulling up.
That was a battle cry, if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, folly!
Darius. You have switched to your longsword at this point?
Yes, I discarded the spear, grabbed the longsword. can I run up, or it's too late for me to declare and moving up close as,
Well, yeah,
you know?
you didn't declare that you had the intention to do that, so no, you just put your spear down, got your weapon ready.
Yes, sir.
And finally, Zachary.
Okay, I'm just gonna move 1, 2. That's half my, less than half my movement. Is that right?
That is actually,
10.
you currently have a movement of, you are not
4, I think.
encumbered, 4. So yeah, that's less than half your movement. 10 feet is.
Okay, so I still
10
get
feet
2
is-
shots if I.
What do you want to fire at?
No, I'm just saying I would still then get 2 shots.
Correct. Do you want
On
to
my
shoot
back.
fire at something? Hector's
I
not
can't
close
see
enough.
anything.
Okay.
I mean, I can't see anything.
You can
So-
just shoot Hector. It's fine. All right. It will be the next round. So this round we're going to go ahead and start with Zachary. Zachary, what would you like to do?
While I'm standing my ground and waiting for the skeletons to come into view.
Yes. While you're doing that, what would you? So you're holding where you
Holding
are.
my ground, holding my action,
And
and I'm waiting. So I can't see any of the enemies.
correct. You can't really make them out. You'd be firing into the dark until they get into some more of the light.
Okay.
So the initiative for that will be your normal bow, but with an additional +1. And what the additional +1 is for is it's because you're waiting for something to come into your line of sight. And in 99% of the cases, as soon as something comes in your sight, you actually get to fire that first shot then. Not 100% of the cases, but in 99% of them, you will get to fire, even if it's not your initiative score, because you are intentionally waiting for side of your +1. Phalian.
That's back to my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
His declaration, yeah.
I'm wanting to move. I'll follow Hector's as obviously as much as I possibly can.
Okay, so that is the default on your main tab, the default initiative if you're just moving.
Okay.
So when you roll your initiative, that's what you roll. Michaelo?
Michaelo is going to. He still is bearing the lantern in his left hand. He will draw a dagger with his right and move slightly south and forward.
Okay, so then that's just the default of the slower initiatives, which is the movement. The dagger's faster than movement, but you're moving. So default initiative on the front of your tab. Kalindric?
Now he's gonna yell to everyone as strong as possible, switch to blunt weapons if you have them. Second, I want to ask you, is the bless spell, I cannot use it because the party is already in combat. Is that correct? Or can I use it because we're not physically engaged in combat yet?
Sorry, you can cast the bless spell. There's nothing
But
wrong with you
isn't there a
casting-
restriction the party cannot be in combat when they cast it? Because some games rule it that way?
So it only
Can't be in melee.
it specifically says it only affects those not already engaged in melee combat. No one is engaged in melee combat yet.
So my intention is to cast bless.
Okay, so not a problem. You just it takes the whole round to cast. So at the end of this round, you will target everybody, and then you can. I'm just going to wait until your initiative time to handle your movement there, Michaelo. But at the end of the round, you will target everyone that you can, and you'll have to wait and see if anybody is engaged in melee combat at that point. But that's how that will work. Okay, you don't even need to roll an initiative; it'll just happen at the end of the round because the bless spell takes a whole round to cast. Hector.
I am parrying and holding position.
Okay, you're pairing to get the armor class bonus, or pairing where you're trying to the other version of it?
The armor class bonus.
Okay.
I'm assuming these things are going to either charge me or march up on me and start hailing down. And
Understood.
once I weather their open salvo, I'll return.
Okay, so that's just your default initiative as far as that goes. And Darius?
catch up with Hector. If that means running, I'll run. If not, but I get to his flank. That's my whole intent.
Okay, well, you may have to take a double movement, but because you're currently lightly encumbered, and with the you'll have to take a double movement to get to him. But that's still just the default initiative on your main tab. Dardania.
I am going to ready my sling and stones.
Readying them for the moment that you see like a skeleton or something coming in. Just give me what the target for the ready is.
The first skeleton I see.
Understood. So that'll be initiative for your sling with an additional +1. And the moment a skeleton, I'm canceling your movement actions because it's not your initiative.
Oh.
If you want to plot it out, you can plot it out. But I'm just canceling them because it just clouds the map when it's not your turn for other people to see.
Got it.
How do I add a +1 to
Look
that?
in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, and do you see all those modifiers? Do you see it says +1?
Yes, I selected +1.
Yes, and then you roll the initiative for the sling.
There's that.
There you go. And
Sweet.
Daki?
Daki will just move up a little bit to join Hector.
Okay, so that is just your default movement. Caliph?
Caliph will move further into the bushes. Is there a tree nearby?
Yeah, you were off the path. You can assume that you were in relatively heavy tree cover where you are already.
I would like to move up and away from the on the other side of the trees, still looking in onto the path where the others are.
Okay, so that is going to be your default movement initiative. And remember, you're only moving 7, so 35 feet is what you'll be able to move when it's your turn. Alaric, what would you like to do?
Alaric will move behind Hector so that he could provide the maximum amount of light to Hector and to see what's coming in his
Okay,
way.
that's just your default movement initiative. It looks like Mikhailo is first. So, Mikhailo, you were moving.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Hello.
I did. I moved.
Did anyone see Mikhailo? Oh, I see it now. Okay, there we go. And you have maneuvered up to that point there. All right. Hector.
That moved me extra. I can only move 20 feet, right?
Yes.
There we go.
Just parrying.
Not a problem whatsoever. The first of these creatures has just come into... it's partially in view. You can see these creatures... Let me make sure that they are all properly identified for you now. You can see this creature. It is not entirely in the light, but it is partially in the light. So those two of you who were waiting... Who's got the open mic and is a mouth breather?
That would be me. Apologies.
That's okay. You're just like... like we're playing with Darth Vader. All right, so...
the mic in his mouth.
Slight question though. I've been able to see him for a while. Is that because of my eyesight?
Yes, so it's all you're up
Okay.
towards the front, so your eyesight is letting you look at them. So, but not everyone can see them. It works differently for different people, and we don't have party vision turned on, right? So for those two of you who were waiting for something to show up, you shoot at skeleton number 1 right now.
Is there any modifier for the partial light?
-1.
Oh.
That was just a wild... You're not going to get that bullet back. And then our archer...
That will go straight in the air.
Yeah, you're not going to get that arrow back either. You're not going to find that one at all.
Do I get another shot or?
At the end of the round, yes. Kalendric.
Okay, okay.
My turn, right? I can
Yes,
cast
sir.
a blast spell?
Well, this is when you begin casting it. At the end of the round, you'll be able to, click everyone and put the effect on them. So, Alaric.
Okay. You have to walk me through those steps
Okay.
with the button to get there.
I will. Alaric.
Okay, moving to there.
Alrighty.
Okay.
You can see another of these skeletons tumbling down, just barely making it into the light. These are obviously the first glimpse. Hello.
You're suddenly getting an echo.
Sardinia.
Dardania.
Oh, sorry, I
That's okay, no problem.
switched my.
That's cool. That's cool.
But we do need to get rid of the double echo.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was trying a different microphone and it's not going to work.
No worries. It's gone now. So you can see that these creatures are obviously remnants of humans. They've got tattered bits and pieces of rusty chainmail armor hanging off of them, broken blades that probably were short swords at one point, tattered boots, earth all over them. These creatures weren't roaming around. Something triggered their rise from probably a deep buried under the ground thing. You're not sure if it's your approach or if there is something else that caused it. There's another one.
Yeah, I wrote that in the journal. They rose up out of the ground.
Okay. Valian?
Let me do my movement.
Well, he worships Lathander, so yes, he has turn undead. And you will get turn undead eventually. Is that all you want to move?
Okay. Yes.
So we've got you there. Dardania, you can move a little bit if you want, or you can just stay where you are, because you've already fired your sling bullet. You don't get an extra bullet, but you can move half your movement if you would like, or you can stay where you are.
I think I will move up a little bit.
Okay, so you can move half of your current movement is 4, so you can move 2. You can move, that's enough. Docky, you wanted to move a tad bit, is that right?
Yeah, just a tad. Ah.
So move yourself to where you're going, please.
Yes. I think like right here.
Okay. Caleth?
Yes, I will move up an inch through the forest cover. I can move about, what was it?
About 35 feet, which is 7 squares,
feet.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe here. Around there.
Okay. And we can hear another of these skeletons trudging forward as several more are attempting to make their way down. Some of them are just beginning to be able to be visible. Darius?
Running, I don't want to run into Valiant.
It's not really running. It's just you're like jogging. Because a run, it has to be a perfect straight line. You're not charging or anything. Your current movement is you are lightly encumbered in this terrain. That brings it down to a 4, but a double movement would be 8. So you have 8 squares or 40 feet you can go.
There, Hector is 20, so if I move 20, is that only half of that?
Yeah, I just have to see where you're moving to and making sure you're not running people over. Like in this case, if you run in a straight line like that, you're running through Valian.
Okay, that's what. So would this work so I don't run over my partner?
Yes, that's what you want to do. You don't want to run over anyone. You want to go, hey. So that's
and that would be half my movement?
That was 20, so that would be approximately half your movement, yes.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
I just want to be able to respond if possible.
Another of these skeletons staggers forward. Zachary, you will get your attack at the end of the round, but you've already got your first arrow because you had been guarding a specific area, and you are the only person who has an additional action. So the very end of the round is when the bless spell goes off. So Zachary, you can fire at any one of these skeletons that you would like to fire at it with. Doesn't have to be the same one.
Okay.
Just remember Darius is now blocking some of them, so you want a clearer line of sight.
Yeah, I've got a clear line of sight to skeleton 1.
Okay, fire away. There's a bit more light that is no longer in semi-darkness there. I thought you in the player's handbook. Essentially you target them. And you.
Well, there's a table that's linked on the turn undead for my ability here, but I can't open this table. It just does
means
nothing.
you don't have the player's handbook open. But anyway, I can tell you how it works. It's a holy power. If they're affected by sunlight, then you are considered much higher level than what you are. Normally, skeletons are not directly affected by sunlight, so that would be not come into play. But it's an initiative where you can move like half your movement and still do it, but it's a +3 thing for initiative, and you mechanically in the game you target all of them that you can see, and then you click the turn button and it will say whether or not you have successfully done so, because you see skeletons. They may or may not actually be normal skeletons, right? But that's what you see. Mechanically speaking, as a first level priest, you should be able to turn skeletons on a 10 or higher on a d20, because it's 10, 13, 16, 19, 20 is what the turning for first level priest is. So if they're normal skeletons, you have a decent chance to do that. If people continue to attack them, and you turn them in a wave, it will break the wave that you have turned. Not just the individual, the wave of them that you have turned. If you fail, then you cannot try again on these creatures, at least for a day. And if you succeed, 2d4 of them will be successfully turned. 2d4 hit dice will be successfully turned. I know that was kind of like a overcomplicated way to explain it, but you can try to turn them, right? Should you choose to when you want. And that is actually our arrow missed and flew. Yes, so, but that is built into Fantasy Grounds Darius, so I don't have to add that in. You don't have to add that in. It is an effect on your character already. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is the next round, so we're going to start in the middle here. Hector, what would you intend to do? What are you intending to do here?
Did Kalendric get the bless off?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell him how to target that. So everybody in your party, hold the control button and left click on everyone in your party. You need to click Hector again.
We all need to do this?
No, just Kalendric.
Only Kalendric.
Okay.
You need to click on Daki, Dardania, Hector, and Valiant.
Alien.
Okay, hold on one moment. Kalendric, you need to hold control and left click on Dardania again. Hold control and left click on Valiant again. Not on Dardania again. So go back to Dardania. There you go. Now hold control and left click on Valian. Hold control and left click on Hector. Hold control and left click on Daki. Now, on your character sheet, where you have the bless spell, do you see the little magnifying glass on the right-hand side?
Yes.
Left click that magnifying glass and then click the button that says cast. Now click effect. And the effect is applied to everyone there. They don't have to worry about adding it in. It's just automatically done. And you have cast that spell. And it is the next round. Hector, what would you like to do?
I am setting for charge.
Okay. So
is that something I can do here, or am I thinking about that wrong?
Well, they'd have to be charging you. So you can't set to receive a charge that isn't coming.
Okay, then I'm just going to keep parrying.
Okay, no problems. Remember, our charge is like an obvious rush in a straight line to get to you.
These shambling bastards probably can't pull it off.
That is probably true. Let me just very quickly look at Valian. Would you look at the actions tab for me there, Valian?
Oh, yeah.
So you see at the top of the actions tab, it says surprise, initiative, delay, and turn.
Oh, I got turn up there. Okay.
So your turn is built in there. If you had the player's handbook opened, the table would be shared with you.
I've got the book.
Then the
It's
link
been
is just
loaded
broken
since I
for now.
logged.
Then the link is
Yeah.
broken for now. We don't know why. But skeletons are 10, 13, 16, 19, 20. So, that's the way that the table is. I'll show you the actual table in the player's handbook in a moment. Darius, what would you like to do?
Glance over at Hector, see what he's doing, and do the same.
Okay, so what are
So
you
if
doing?
he's getting his shield up, I'll do the same.
Okay, but he's parrying. So what would you like to do?
Okay, then I guess the same thing. I'll be ready for someone to come towards me.
Okay.
So yes, the short answer is yes, parrying.
Okay, so you have to roll your default initiative for that, which is the one on your main tab there when I say default. And Dardania.
I'm going to fire off another sling stone.
Okay. Now there are some people who are directly in front of you, and they have been moving, so they may make it a little bit harder because they're in front of you, right?
I can move half my movement. I suppose I'd want to move 2 squares to
Hopefully,
get out kind of.
But just remember that if you don't move, then they'll be in front of you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. And we have Daki.
Daki will also join in on the parrying.
Okay, so that's your default initiative.
Yep.
And Kaleth?
I will draw my short sword and I will move to the west. Well, if it is the west, along the tree line.
Okay. So that will be your short sword initiative. And Alaric.
Alaric, he will just move around because he already saw the cleric moving up to do his turning.
Understood.
So, okay.
Zachary?
Zachary will take one square to the south and he will shoot with his bow.
Understood. Valian?
I'm going to turn undead.
You're going to attempt to turn? Okay. So that is just your default initiative. And Michaela?
Michaela is going to move slightly south and west into the trees.
Okay, understood. So roll your default movement initiative there, and then we will have people acting. Wow. Everybody see that black die just floating on Fantasy Grounds, or is it just me?
Yeah.
Yes, I see it.
It's just like hanging out there.
It's just flipping around.
All right, the first of these creatures does indeed stagger towards Hector, moving all of its movement to get to this point, staggering towards him, not being able to attack him at all. Valian?
Okay, I'm going to hold my holy symbol.
Yeah, target all of them first,
Okay.
and then tell us your role-playing aspect of it.
I hold my holy symbol, say, Lathander, Morning Lord, hear me now. Let your light shine through this darkness. These bones walk in mockery of your gift. I will not stand idle while they defile your dawn. By the light of the risen sun, I cast you out, return to dust, and trouble this world no more. The living walk in light. You do not belong here. Be gone. And I'll cast Turn Undead.
You'll click your turn
Oh
button.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
So do I click that button
Yes.
that you're talking about at the top there?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make sure. Fuck, it could have been a higher roll than that.
And you failed by 1.
Damn it.
Son of a bitch. And I just kind of tuck my...
And it was a nice prayer. It was really nice.
It was a
Yeah.
good prayer. It was a
It
good
was a wonderful prayer. There was one that you
I
couldn't
was-
see, so you can try to turn him when you can see him.
I was
Michaela.
deflated after that.
Michaela?
Yeah, moving.
Okay.
Sure.
Alrighty. Another skeleton staggering forward. Still can't quite have any actual melee contact with anyone just yet. The one that wasn't seen by the priest staggers into the light. Daki, you're beginning to parry. Alaric.
Yep.
Okay. Alaric will move to this spot over here.
He's like, doo, 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 doo. Okay.
Yep. To prepare to cast a spell next turn.
Well, it has to be Nahals, so.
Yeah, it has to be Narwhal. It's gonna be Grease.
Caleth.
All right, I will move around here. Yeah, and I will keep an eye on what's going on, trying to flank.
Alrighty. You don't believe they have any idea where you are, but you're also in a lot of darkness yourself there.
Yes, I will be careful.
Another skeleton trudges in. They're all beginning to close the ground towards you. Zachary?
Okay. I will move. What's that? I'll move one square south.
Okay.
And then I will attack the closest skeleton.
Okay. So make sure you have that skeleton targeted. And fire away, please. Roll
Nice.
damage. This is still not melee yet. It's ranged attack. You notice that because the skeleton itself really didn't have a lot of flesh to tear into, this was more of a lucky shot that broke its backbone and ceased whatever magic had animated it. But the piercing effect itself has no flesh to tear through and was far less effective than it had some flesh to tear through.
Okay.
Hector, you're parrying
Sure.
Kalendric.
Can you clarify, is switching a weapon a full move or a half move action?
Where is the weapon?
It is my shield and warhammer.
Where
My
is
shield is on my backpack,
you're
and my
using
warhammer
a
is on my
shield?
body. To switch to shield and warhammer combo.
Yes, I'm just asking you a question. You're using a shield.
Yes.
Okay. So, make a religion check, a Deathic religion check, please, in the open.
My apologies. Religion. Okay, here.
So that's a skill check. Yes, make it in the open.
And you just select on the little.
Wow, I
dice.
can't hear him.
Turn him up a bit if you have to.
Really. Yeah.
These people are not dwarves, and your religion uses shields in the protection of dwarves.
But since my warhammer is only one-handed, isn't it pointless just use it one-handed and not use the shield?
You can argue with the high priest of your faith as much as you would like. They have set the ethos, and you use shield in the defense of dwarves. So you're welcome to continue to use the shield if you would like to. So you're switching to your warhammer and your shield, is that correct?
Can a warhammer be used two-handed, or is just one-handed only?
You can switch it to be, you can use both hands. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you using it in both hands. You'll get an additional +1 to damage from using a warhammer in both hands.
Well, then that's what I'm doing. I'm just switching my two-handed battle axe to my hammer because it's more effective. And is that a full round action since I have a harness, or just a half move action?
Well, so your warhammer is like at your side, is that right? And you're just dropping your axe and grabbing your warhammer?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can just move as you do that.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and due to the restriction, I can move 4 squares. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you're lightly encumbered. You can move, 20 feet.
Yeah, I'm just moving up 20 feet. That's it.
Okay, so drag your miniature the direction you're moving.
20.2 feet.
That's close enough, right? We're not gonna fight over a couple of inches on people's movement like that, right? So.
Thank you for your patience.
You're welcome. No worries. Another skeleton staggers into the light. They're getting closer, and eventually they will be able to do more than just stagger and be a bottle of bones, sort of moving towards everyone. As the skeleton that had collapsed, that was slain, another one steps into its place. Darius, you're still parrying this round. It looks like you have a lot of people targeted, so I'm going to untarget them for you. Dardania?
I'm going to take 2 steps to the north.
Okay.
and fire my sling stone
Alrighty.
at. I guess I got to target the one. Okay, did I have that targeted?
Yes, you do. Just to answer your question there, Valian, Bless provides attack bonuses. Turn undead is not an attack.
Okay, I just want to
No worries.
clarify
I
that.
got you. Yeah, it provides and a bonus to certain types of fear. To resist certain types of fear, I should say. You have hit with a sling stone.
Hooray!
So just roll damage whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to roll damage. Hey! Nice.
Yes, this
Sweet.
sling bullet just hit it dead center of its forehead, and the bones immediately collapsed where it stood.
Priests of Sylvanus hate undead because they're unnatural.
They are unnatural. And we have one more arrow from Zachary.
Okay, I will shoot the one closest to me. Yeah.
That's another arrow that's going to be lost to the night. It's not really night, but it's going to be lost to the hill itself, right? Okay, that is the end of this round. And this time we're going to start with Darius. Darius, what would you like to do first?
Take a step forward. If this is more a question how the game works. If I take a step forward, do I entangle those two? Are they forced to deal with me, or can they ignore me?
Well, you can't force anything to deal with you without having some form of magical compulsion. So
Okay.
you need to be more concerned about leaving yourself in a less than fully defensible position. Should you leave yourself in a less than fully defensible position, intelligent opponents will take advantage of that. It's probably pretty safe to say that these are single-minded types of creatures, and you can't really attribute intelligence to them. They haven't demonstrated it thus far.
They are an insult. Just their existence. I'm not gonna. I'll just take a step forward. I hate these guys with a passion. It might be not a smart thing to do, but
So
I'll take a
is your
step forward.
intention to attack?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Attack
then
the one in
that's
front of me.
the weapon that you're attacking. That's what you roll the initiative with. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and then you'll move forward at that time. And Dardania, what would you like to do?
I'm going to take another step to get clear and fire the stone.
Okay, so that's going to be your sling initiative. Daki, what would you like to do?
I will step forward and attack with my longsword.
Okay, not a problem. So that'd be your longsword initiative. Caliph?
I would like to move forward with my short sword, but stay roughly at the edge of the tree line.
Okay, so that would be your short sword initiative. Alaric?
Alaric would like to cast
Nahal's Reckless Beyond.
Nahal's. Yes, correct.
With the intention of getting a grease spell, correct?
Correct.
So roll Nahal's, and then when we get to that, we'll look at the Wild Surge and see what happens. If people are messaging me in Discord, I'm sorry, I'm not responding to Discord. I do apologize about that. But if you want to send a private message to me, just send it in the chat game. You can right-click on the tower and whisper to me. Okay, no problems. And Zachary.
Zachary will take a 5-foot step back and continue shooting with his bow.
Okay, so that'll be your bow initiative. Valian?
Did the other one appear?
Yeah,
yet,
so the
or-
one to far back, Skeleton 7.
Okay.
You could attempt to turn Skeleton 7 if you want to.
I might as well try.
Okay. So that's just your default movement initiative, and you can still move half your movement either before or after turning. You choose.
I will probably move a little bit after.
Okay, so just the default
yes.
initiative. Michaelo?
Michaela's going to step a couple steps further south and west and hurl his dagger at skeleton number 1.
Okay, so the bush further to the south is considerably thick So it may take a little bit more maneuvering to get to that point. As you'll notice that you can't really see entirely through all of that bush that's to the south. That's because it's thicker than what is just to the edge of the road. So we're going to have your movement again if you want to go through that.
Okay, he would just take one step directly west.
Okay, no problem. So that'll be just your default movement initiative when it comes to that.
Oh, he's gonna hurl his dagger.
Yes, but you're moving, correct?
Yeah.
So we will take the slower of the two. So
yeah, right.
We'll take the slower of the two in that case. Kalendric.
Move forward.
Okay.
Engage the skeleton with his warhammer. So I'm just gonna click on the yellow button that says roll initiative for the warhammer.
Okay, but if you move more than what you can, then you won't be able to engage. But just go ahead. You never can tell. The skeletons might be closer by the time it's your turn, right? And finally, Hector.
Spear.
Okay, no problem. So roll initiative with your spear. And the first person to act this round is Valian. You've got that one. Well, it looks like you have the dwarf targeted, but no, it's not right. You don't have him targeted. The dwarf's okay. There we go. Go ahead and see if you can turn this one. Do you have another prayer to word?
I do. I gave you a chance to flee the light, and still you crawl in defiance. Then hear this, skeleton filth. The Morning Lord's mercy is not endless. You are not life, you are not will, you are blight that should never have risen. By Lathander's flame, I burn your shadow away. Be gone. Fucking please roll good.
Great, wonderful. So
Wonderful.
I will put the effect of turned on that creature if you'll just give me a moment. That one does begin to flee at a much more rapid pace, almost as fast as it can, possibly move, and very quickly, out of the light, out of sight, but you can hear it moving away. Michaela.
All right. There. Throw that.
This is you want to move to right there, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you can move that far, and I'm trying to target it. Control left click, right?
Yes,
Target.
but which one are you throwing
There we
at?
That one.
So what's the range of your dagger?
Range of dagger.
10, 20, 30, is that what it is? Let me see. Dagger. 10, 20, 30. Yeah, so you're fine. You're still just within short range. You're almost out of short range. You've thrown the dagger, and somehow you're not proficient with dagger. Is that correct?
No, I'm proficient.
Why do you have a -2 with your dagger?
That's weird. The one at the top of my stack under action says attack -3. The one below it has 0.
Try again.
Okay.
The proficiency was not equipped.
The roll came up, and I'm not seeing it come up in chat. Rolled a raw 16.
We didn't see that. It just there we
Yeah.
go. Ignore the
Okay.
attacking while out of ammo thing. We just have a Fantasy Grounds freezing at the moment there.
All right. Do you need me to roll again, or do we just want to wait to see if that 16 pops?
I don't see anything coming up, and what happens time to? Yeah, so words are coming up. So your 16 is not.
All right. Let me roll that one more time.
That is a 17. So damage, please.
Yeah, it was a raw 16.
Okay.
So it did finally go. So damage?
Mm-hmm. Obviously enough just to break whatever magic was holding this skeletal body together.
So
Dardania?
Taking a step and firing my slingstone.
Okay. Which one are you
at this one.
Okay, fire away.
Hey. And the damage, not bad.
Heavily wounding this one, but it will begin to stagger more in your direction. Probably. We're not certain. All right, Alaric. So the first thing that we have to have happen is you're going to need to roll on your. There's 2 tables you have to roll on. So let me show you those tables first, okay?
Okay.
Wild Surge table 2. But where is level variation? That's what you have to roll on first. Okay, so roll on. Oh, somehow I lost you. There you are. Roll on this table first. Just click the roll button. So 9, it will have no additional level modifiers. It will be cast at first level, whatever actually ends up coming out. And the actual result of what will come out is this table here. Roll on this table, please. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, roll on that. Your head, instead of grease appearing, has just grown 3 sizes for at least the next 10 minutes, maybe even longer. You're kind of off balance as your head is just massively increased.
I'm feeling a sense of deja vu.
Let me click out on this. Okay.
This creature takes 1 step forward in the first of its kind, jabbing its broken short sword at Hector. Scraping off of Hector's armor, creating a slight spark in the night, as the next creature, the one directly in front of Hector, is also stabbing at him with this jagged short sword. This Hector easily sidesteps. Daki?
Okay. Daki will move forward.
You notice the creature does not turn to face you, so you actually are at a left front flank of this creature because it is facing Hector. So you get a +1 to hit.
Alrighty.
It didn't have enough intelligence to turn and look at you.
Oof.
You were just terribly surprised that you know these things are magically animated, but you thought perhaps their creator would have been able to have instilled a bit more intelligence in them. The fact that it didn't turn to look at you is just what caught you off guard. Kalendric? So you can move 20 feet. But if you move more than half of that, you won't get an attack.
So 20 feet will. It says 20 feet can't go through my guys. So the best I think I can do is 18 point, either 20.6 or 18.2.
In either case, I'm fine with both of them because it's more than half your movement in either case. You're just moving to that point. You will not be able to get an attack. You're moving to that point.
Okay.
And
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you're ready now at this point. You're right there in front of this thing. Darius?
Step forward and attacking the abomination.
Do me a favor and just make a wisdom check as you step forward. Make the wisdom check in the open.
Yes, sir.
Sir. Sir was my father. I know I'm almost 50, but come on, man.
I'm an idiot.
All right, so no, you succeeded. You noticed that in your mind, for a moment, you hesitated to step forward because if that had been an intelligent opponent, they probably would have caught you at less than your best defensive capability. However, you are not facing an intelligent opponent, and that was not something you have to worry about. So you may attack the skeleton you are attempting to attack, which is skeleton 8.
You do realize you've caused fear every time you say roll a die.
Oh, sorry about
that.
The game is about tension, so go ahead.
Roll attack. Okay, so rolling the longsword, the red die.
Before you do that, hold control and left-click skeleton 8.
Okay. Control, left-click 8.
Yeah, there you go. Now you have him targeted, so you can just attack with your longsword. swinging your longsword down in a mighty fashion. What kind of damage did you do to this thing? He's going to build the suspense. He's going to...
I have a die 8 and a die 12. Is the die 12 when I'm mounted and I'm supposed to be rolling the die 8?
That's actually against
The
large
12 for
creatures.
large.
Yeah, so the small and medium, so the D8 should say S and M, not sadomasochism for small and medium. So the D8.
Okay. Shit. Once I pick up the dice, how do I drop it? All right, never mind. There you go.
There you go.
It only said S. There's no M there, but
Obviously slaying this creature, even though part of it was resisted, breaking it in half from your blow. As we will end your turn. And this creature, just seeing the closest opponent being you, this thing staggers towards you, Darius, and swipes at you with its broken blade. Missing. I didn't mean to turn your facing. Sorry about that. Caliph.
Form protect.
Yes, I would like to run up. I think I could make it to here and then try and stab a skeleton 6. Is that possible?
So you are fully capable of running up to that point, but you're moving more than your maximum, more than half your movement. So you won't be able to do anything other than to get there, because that's 33 feet that you're moving, right?
All right. Yeah.
So
sure.
you're getting to that point. The thing has a partially discernible anatomy. I mean, you can see bones, but you can't see organs. So you are uncertain exactly how much your knowledge of anatomy will help in this situation.
Sure, that's no problem. I'll try and stake it whenever.
Understood. Hector.
Hector is going to swing on these bastards. This guy directly in front of me. That is control and left click.
Yes. Hold control and left click on it. There you go.
That's initiative, not attack.
Your nerves have caused you, plus the rain, to jab in between its ribs, actually hitting nothing but scraping a bit of the bone. Zachary, now we've got the issue that everyone is engaged in melee. So whichever one you fire at, no matter what angle of approach you take, there's at least a minimalistic chance you might hit one of your companions.
Okay. So I will then move to there.
Okay.
That still leaves me with my 2 shots, and I will let rip on Skeleton 5. Is that all right?
Okay, Skeleton 5 is also engaged in melee combat. It had just attacked Darius. So, as I said, there will be at least a minimalistic chance. So the first thing you do is make your attack roll. So that is high enough to hit, but let us see. The skeleton is obviously your clearest line of target. Caliph, Darius, Skeleton 3, and Kalendric are all also within that same arc of fire, I'm going to say. So I need you to roll a D1, 2, 3, 4, a D6, and you want to roll 1, 2, 3. Caliph is 4, Darius is 5, Kalendric is 6. So 4. Now, let's see if that hits Caliph. Firing just over the skeleton's shoulder. Roll damage. Caliph, an arrow hits you. Not the skeleton, it hit you.
Ow.
1 point of damage as it just flew right through the skeleton's rib cage and didn't hit anything because there's no flesh and hit you instead, grazing your side, Caliph.
Ow! Why?
You have another shot. Go ahead.
Please don't.
If he kills Caleb, does he get XP?
Oh, you only get XP for successfully overcoming problems. Caleb has not been a problem. So again, this is high enough to definitely hit the skeleton. The same arc of fire. Roll another d6. 1, 2, 3. Skeleton. 4, 5, 6. The individuals I have said. Because combat is a fluid set of motions where things are always moving around. This time it is Caleth. So roll damage, please.
Am I hit? Am I at least doing damage on the skeleton?
No. You're missing the skeleton entirely. I will roll the damage for you because I'll just drop it directly on Caleth. This time you did 3 points of damage to him. Again, firing through him. When you fire into melee, let me give me just a moment to explain it cinematically so it'll make sense. Mechanically, okay, hold on.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, 17's quite high.
Just give me a moment, okay? Let's forget about the mechanics of how that rule works. Cinematically, those individuals that you see are not standing still. The skeleton is not standing still. Darius is not standing still. Kelendrick, who is still readying for battle, is not standing still. Caleth is not standing still. He's still in an arc of motion, and the skeleton is not standing still. When you have individuals that are engaged in melee, they're constantly maneuvering and positioning themselves. So when you fire into melee, you have to take into account that the person you're firing at may be just a step off. So therefore, everyone who is within your arc of fire is potentially a target when you fire into melee. So the mechanical rule is how I did it, but the cinematic reason is how I described it. So just remember, firing into melee combat is never a good idea unless your friends are too difficult to be hit. Because not only do you have to roll high enough to hit, if that wasn't high enough to hit Caleb, then it wouldn't have done any damage to him. You understand? It just would have hit. If it was only high enough to hit the skeleton and no one else, then it could only hit the skeleton, right? But this was something that was put in the message of the day, and there is this little section, and I did stress to everyone to read firing into melee combat in the player's handbook and in the message of the day in our first session. Nonetheless, it's an excellent way for us to get familiar with the rule systems, and it will be the next round. So we're going to go to Alaric. What's your intended action with your big head that is barely managing to be held up by the strength of your small neck? We will assume that Antonio is ignoring me because he doesn't like me, and we will come back to him.
Oh, sorry.
You forgot who you were?
I forgot who I am. So, yeah, I'm going to be moving. I'm just going to be moving then.
With your big head, got you. Caleth.
Yeah.
So that's the default initiative in Caleth?
Yeah, I will try and strike at the skeleton in front of me.
So you are definitely getting the bonus to hit. So you're not moving, and what weapon are you using?
I'll be using my short sword.
Okay, so that will be the initiative for your short sword. Daki, what are you intending to do?
I will swing with my longsword.
Just a moment. You get 2 attacks this round with your longsword. So
Yep.
Iterative attacks. So roll initiative for your longsword. Dardania.
Can I move the 4 squares up to Caleth and apply the comfrey?
Well, comfrey is not something that can be applied in just one round. Read the description of comfrey to see.
Yeah, I was just reading that. It says, if comfrey root is applied immediately to a wound, roll die 4 to see how many hit points the wounded character never lost in the first place.
That is correct. On your person, where is your comfrey?
It's in my healer's bag, which is on my...
So you're moving up to that point. Yeah, we'll let you do that. That's fine. Because I thought your
the
comfrey
healer's
was...
bag.
It's in your healer's bag. That's fine. I thought it was at the bottom of your backpack.
Yeah.
Not a problem. So if it's in your healer's bag, sure, no problem. Just roll your default movement initiative, and that's when you will be able to do that. But be aware that you will have to make a touch attack roll because he's engaged in melee combat and he's not stopping.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But it's not a spell, so you won't lose it. It's not like you're throwing the comfrey at him. You're not, you won't drop the comfrey. You just won't actually be able to apply it, right? And had it been a situation where these were intelligent opponents, then you would have left yourself less than defensible, and attacks of opportunity would have come in at you. Okay.
Yeah.
Just default initiative for that roll, though. Okay. And
Yeah.
Darius.
Longsword.
You have preferred weapon. What else do you have? Yep. Okay. So you're trying to see how many attacks you got. That's your longsword initiative. Hector, you'll get 2 attacks this round with your spear. And Kalindric.
I'm going to move to flank skeleton number 5.
Alrighty, not a problem. And I'm assuming you're engaging with your Warhammer, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so you roll initiative for your Warhammer. Yes. Michaelo.
Michaela's going to be moving west and north and drawing his scimitar.
Okay, so roll initiative for your scimitar there, please. Valian.
I'm going to draw or equip my horseman's mace as I move forward and try to get in a position to attack skeleton.
Okay, so that's
3.
initiative for your horseman's mace. And Zachary?
I'm gonna. I'll have to drop my bow and move in with my longsword and dagger.
Okay, so remember the Fantasy Grounds. Is it short sword and dagger or long sword and dagger?
Let me have a look.
I think it's short sword and dagger. But Fantasy Grounds will only keep track of 1 initiative. So that means that your short sword, you roll that based in Fantasy Grounds. And then for your dagger, you roll just a normal D10 and add 2. And we have to keep track of that mentally outside of Fantasy Grounds. Okay? Great. So the dagger will come in at 8. Yes, right. Okay.
Yes, cool.
Caliph. Now, you have never done this before. Look at the Actions tab for your character sheet. And look where it says Powers. Do you see that?
Yes, I see it.
Do you see that when you click on Powers, the word Backstab Multiplier is there, and there's a little a magnifying glass on the far right-hand side?
Yes.
Left-click that magnifying glass, and click both effects. Now, hold Control and left-click on Skeleton 6 and make an attack roll.
Do I get anything for flanking? Is there a bonus for that?
Do you see the chat box where it says Backstab Attempt Attack 4?
Okay.
That's already built into the effect, so you don't have to worry about it.
Great.
And you missed.
My back tick.
There's just no real meat for you to jab this into. You're hitting just an empty section where there should be flesh. Now, just out of curiosity, let's go ahead and get people used to doing this. Can you see the combat tracker, Caliph?
Yes, I see it.
Do you see down at the bottom there's this word that says menu?
No.
Do you see
I
the
see
bottom of the combat tracker and there's a word that says menu, M-E-N-U. Do you see that? No?
No.
Okay, do you see an arrow that's pointing down that says next actor?
Yeah, I pressed it.
Great.
I just pressed it now.
Great. So now it's Zachary's turn. So, Zachary.
Yeah. This is my short sword, I believe, eh? Is that correct?
That is, well, you have to move, so you...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand.
So, move. Are you moving? Okay, so that's where you're moving, and then you're turning your facing. Right, so you are actually in a flank on this creature. You'll get an additional +1, but this is your short sword.
Okie dokie, +1.
Again, piercing weapons on these fleshless creatures. It's hard to really get a good shot in at them. Do you see your combat tracker?
Yeah.
Do you see the little arrow down at the bottom that says next actor? There you go. Thank you very much. Darius?
I'm familiar with Instagram.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No problem.
I'm just trying to get everybody. Yes,
he's diagonal.
Well, you have to turn to face him, and I just turned you because I assumed you were about to ask to turn to face him.
Control, click. Wait, you said left click, right? To choose him?
Yes.
And now I roll for attack?
Correct. slashing weapon. Again, no real meat to cut into, just between the ribs, right where the stomach should have been. Well, do you see your combat tracker?
Yes, and next you said.
Yes.
Boom, chocolate.
All right, wonderful. So the more we get used to that, the faster it will be. Hector, this short sword stabbing in at you. Again, you're just too heavily armored for a broken weapon to do much more than create a scrape across your armor. Kalendric? So, and you're free facing. You just moved a bit too quick in the rain, bringing your warhammer down and swearing at this thing as it just unintentionally moved at the last moment, preventing you from connecting with your warhammer. Hector, your first of 2 attacks. Damage, please. Heavily wounding this thing as you can hear bones cracking, but not taking it off of its feet just yet. As this skeleton still hasn't turned to face Daki, it's attacking at Hector from a slight flank on him. Again, missing nothing more than noise off of his armor. Fantasy Grounds, there we go, didn't want to listen to me. And an attack coming in at our Holy Warrior. This short sword, however, does more than just create a scraping sound on your armor. It does 6 points of damage to you as its rusty blade guts part of your abdomen. Dardania?
I think it's me to go for the dagger. You should have 8.
Oh, yeah, 8, sorry. So 8, my apologies, before you go, Dardania, your offhand dagger, go ahead. Still with an additional +1 because of the flank. No, just cursing and hoping that this thing gets some flesh for you to aim better at. The rain, the lighting, the fact there's a dwarf beside you, all of these things are really causing you to not be, in top form here. Also, you're kind of angry that they got in the way of your arrows earlier. They should know to move better.
And the fact
Doors
that
are
there's-
very often.
And the fact there's arrows sticking out of Kale's arse.
Exactly. He should not be in the way of your arrows. Now it's Dardania.
Right off the bat, I don't see, is the combat tracker the row of portraits at the top with the initiative numbers on it?
No,
Yep.
So in the top right-hand corner of your screen, do you see the word tool?
Yes.
Do you see the
I
crossed
see the
swords?
combat.
There you go.
Yeah, I see it now.
So just maneuver
so-
yourself.
Yeah, I move up here, the 4 steps.
So what you need to do
And
now is
then-
left click or hold control and left click on Caliph, right? And you get an additional +1, so click +1 in the bottom left-hand corner there, right?
Yes.
And before you make your actual attack roll, please hold on and let me do something. Caliph, just for a moment, you might notice something change about your inventory. Hold on.
Yeah, he added 2 arrows.
Okay, so on the front tab of your character sheet there, Dardania, do you see where it says combat and then you see Thaco? The main tab of the character sheet at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yes.
I see it.
So the Thaco is the attack roll, and I have unequipped his armor, so it would be a touch attack roll.
Okay, I understand. Oh, yeah.
Oh wow!
And you just expertly applied this comfrey to him in a very expedient fashion, to the point where you actually have stretched it out enough to where it's not even going to take up an entire use of your comfrey. So how much does that heal him?
Die 4.
Okay, so roll a d4.
Did that pop up?
No, it didn't. Just roll it in the chat screen there. We're all anxiously waiting a 4-sided die to be rolled.
Okay, I'm not making that.
That's okay.
I can just
Caleb,
I can
roll a
just
D4.
drag a die.
But it won't do anything to him. If just you see the 4-sided dice at the bottom, can you just drag that to the chat box? Drag it to the chat box. There you go. All right, so that's 1. You healed 1 point. I will take care of that. But it's more than 0, so nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
It is very much appreciated.
In the combat tracker, do you see where it says next actor? The little arrow at the bottom of the combat tracker.
Yes.
Okay, Michaela.
Mm.
Is that as far as you're moving?
I can move 20 feet.
Well, not in this area. You can't remember because when you got into the thicker, greener bush, it was your movement was halved again.
All right. So what is my
your movement? Sorry, let me open your character sheet. Is
10.
9 minus 5 is 4. 2. So you can move 10 in this green.
All right.
Because it's super thick brush. That's close enough. 11.2. Now, once you get out of that, then you'll be able to go back to your 4, right?
Right.
Do you see the combat tracker?
Yes.
Do you see the next actor button? Thank you very much. And it is Alaric's
turn. Okay, just moving to here, making sure everybody has a light, and that'll be it.
Okay, and next actor, Daki. The creature still hasn't changed its facing, so you therefore are still gaining an additional flank from this side.
A +1?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if I make any progress this time around.
Combat will get faster. I'm sorry that it's still so slow, but it will get faster. That's a very positive hit.
Alrighty. It's a small?
Well, it's a medium, but yes.
Medium, yeah.
You have slain this thing.
Okay, and I'll hit this one with my other...
Your iterative attack, but that doesn't come immediately, right? Look at the combat tracker and hit the next actor button. Valian?
I'm doing my movement as I
Yes.
have my mace in my hand. Do I have enough action to attack?
Not a problem. You're more than because you only move two squares essentially. Swing at skeleton number 3. Just target it and swing at it. Just a bit messy as you swung at this thing, obviously missing. Hector, your alternate attack.
Let me go down.
You've hit that creature. Slaying this creature. So, Daki, you can step forward if you would like. Obviously, if this had been a more intelligent creature, it would be aware of you doing so. But this is not an extremely intelligent creature, so therefore you're not in much harm's way for doing so. And swing at this creature with your iterative attack. Darius does not. So,
Oof.
Alrighty. So you're wearing no armor. That's good. Make a dexterity check in the open.
1 sec. Oh.
They are specialist. As a blade singer, he's a specialist in longsword. Essentially, he can only use his longsword. Your longsword almost slipped out of your hand, but you kept a tight grip on it. And Hector is a single-class fighter who's a Myrmidian, so he can specialize. He gets 1 free specialization, and then he can specialize in something else. And there's also a champion who can specialize in the weapon of his deity. But specialists are, slightly different than, but they don't have lay on hands, and they don't have all the other stuff you have. But it is the next round, and this time we're going to start with Caleb. What would you like to do?
I would like to step forward and try and murder the skeleton.
Yes, murder the dead. That is the greatest thing in the world. Okay, roll an initiative for the weapon you're using. Daki, what would you like to try to do?
I will also try to slay it.
You're all ganging up on this poor little skeleton. What did he do to you? Dardania?
He made me friend with an arrow.
You know what? I'm gonna. Well, I can't do the comfrey because it's got to be immediate. I suppose. I'm going to just keep a handful of comfrey ready in case anyone else gets injured.
Okay, no problem whatsoever. So that's just an if, so that's a default movement with a +1, just in case you want to do that, because you're putting an if condition on it. Darius.
Longsword, remaining skeleton.
Okay. Hector. I agree with you, Hector. It would be best to attack the dwarf. You say Hector didn't say no. We will assume that Hector is having problems communicating.
My mic's sorry. I'm moving around this guy and correct.
Okay, so that
Actually,
will be initiative for your spear.
I mean
initiative for your spear. Your intention is to attack with your spear. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so initiative for your spear. Darius is attacking. I'm not sure why.
No, I messed up. It was supposed to be initiative.
Kalindric. I will assume that Kalindric is attacking with his warhammer since you rolled initiative for that. Michaelo.
Michaela's going to move northwest.
Okay. So you'll be stepping out, just so you know, once you get there. So we'll give you all 4 points of your movement because you're stepping out of the thickest part of the brush at that point.
Okay, I still have scimitar drawn, so it'll be scimitar initiative, right?
Yes. If you're intending to attack with it. If you're just moving, then it's just moving.
No, I'm just moving.
Oh, so then it's just your movement, which is the default initiative. Okay. Valian.
Cure light wounds on Darius.
Okay, that will be a touch attack roll because he is engaged in combat. Sure. Failure means that the spell will be wasted. Don't forget. Okay. Zachary.
I will continue with my short sword and dagger.
Okay. 2 separate initiatives. Roll initiative for Cure Light Wounds, Valian.
I did already.
You did. I'm sorry. I just didn't see that. My apologies. I didn't see that.
I just want to confirm the initiative for the dagger is 5. Eh?
Okay, so they will both go at the exact same time.
Okay, cool.
And should you kill the skeleton, then there is no need for a melee touch attack roll for Cure Light Wounds. It will just be an automatic thing. Happen right now. You are at a sort of a plus.
+2.
Yeah, because you're from it's back is towards you now. Yes.
I'll take a +3 if you're offering.
No. I offer nothing. I give you what you deserve.
Yes, short sword.
Oh, hit it.
Oh! Jabbing with your blade. It'll be the D6.
Kill it.
Go ahead and roll that before you make your dagger attack. For no real damage. And your dagger, please. Nearly cracking its spine with the blade as you sort of punched rather than jabbed with it. But the creature is still standing. Would you end your turn? Next actor. Wonderful. Great. Alrighty, so I am still facing the paladin who is attempting to defend himself to the best of his ability. He can hear a prayer to some deity beginning behind him. It sounds friendly and not harmful, so hopefully that's what it will be for him. Alaric, you're going to trudge along. Your head kind of leans over to the right a little bit and then to the left, and you're a bit off balance as you stagger around
balancing
here.
my head.
And Hector, you're almost taken just entirely aback as out of the corner of your eye this massive-headed wizard walks by. Valian, okay, before you make your touch attack roll, you first of all are behind him, so you get a +2, right? And okay. I have to go to him to unequip his armor very quickly to make sure that we are not getting his armor bonus. So just a moment. Where's his armor? And then do you see the main tab of your character sheet?
Talking about me?
Yes.
Okay, we're doing Thaco?
Yes. So that's what you have to roll, and you target him.
Okay, I'm gonna chant as I go to try to touch him. Morning Lord, guide my hand. Let your light mend what darkness has broken. May his strength rise with the dawn. Be whole again, Darius. And I try to touch him.
Okay.
It's Sunday school all over again.
All right, so you just click the heal.
Okay, I'm going to do the heal 1d8. Drag and drop on him. Oh, max.
And your wounds were almost miraculously, not almost, entirely miraculously disappeared. There will be even no scarring. The blood that was present and was beginning to, drip down upon you is gone as well. There's no sign you had been injured other than a scrape and scratch along your armor. Caleth.
Wow. All right, I move up and I attack the skeleton.
Again, go to the exact same thing that I said earlier. On your character sheet, go to there you go. Now attack. Just staggering as you try to stab with your short sword, hoping that you can get a shot towards the back of this thing's skull. You have missed. Don't tell me this one skeleton's going to kill everybody. Michaela.
Alright, I am moving to there, thinking that there's only one skeleton left, and these guys have got it surrounded. I am looking to the west to make sure there is no more threat.
Alrighty. And end your turn in the combat tracker, please. Click next actor.
Actions. I'm gonna go ahead and roll for attack.
Hold on, wait. Michaela, in the combat tracker. There we go.
I clicked it. It didn't.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure.
I also was trying to reface my character at the same time.
Okay. So you may go ahead and attack now, Darius. Swinging your blade.
That good or bad?
That's a hit, so.
I know, but I didn't hear the following us. So go ahead and roll for damage.
I'm just waiting to see the damage, yes.
Oh, okay.
Finally, a last blow on this thing causes its body to collapse, and whatever magic was animating it ceases. As you can see, the bones are just now nothing more than a pile with a rusty short sword atop them. Alrighty. Once we all... Go ahead.
Does anyone need...
I do apologize for the length of such battles, but once we get really familiar with things and I don't have to say this and this and this, things will be much faster and they will happen much more quickly.
Oh, no worries, man. I'm having a blast.
Steven, a quick note if you don't mind.
Sorry, what's that?
I was noticing at the very beginning, but I didn't catch it. Everybody was talking, but my inventory said longbow. I actually don't have one. It should have been a short bow. Could you just edit that if you don't mind?
Yes, or you can drag in a short sword if you want. I mean, a short bow if you want, and then delete the long bow. But I'll do it for you.
Yeah, because sometimes when I try to edit stuff and put the location, doesn't seem to catch correctly. It wasn't popular.
That's got to be something on user end that's happening, because everyone can edit and type in. I just don't know what's going on. Although you have an open mic and speakers, right?
Yes, that's why I mute stuff.
Okay, no, that's just why, because I can just hear myself when I'm talking to you. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Steven, earlier when I said that every time you told me to roll for something, it scares me, it's because I know I'm going to fuck it up. So you're like, go ahead and roll for it. I'm like, oh, shit.
It's just a die roll, man. The worst thing that can happen is that your character dies. It's just a game. That is the absolute worst thing that can happen, right? So,
Yeah.
I have Darius Aethelwood tattooed over both my butt cheeks right now. That's how important this guy is to me. All right.
well, you should rethink your priorities in life.
The more my brother talks, the less respect I have for him.
You stopped respecting me 50 years ago. All right. To add, you were trying to explain to me earlier how I add broken swords, or how I add swords. It was to the bottom, add item.
Yes. Under inventory, do you see the little stylus? Or you can just click plus, the little plus button.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got one person that's back. We will get started. And then just write broken short sword. Okay. And we will get started. Is your son okay? That's the kind of answer I like to hear when I ask questions about people's family. The fuck you, we don't care enough to let you know.
He just mentioned he was putting him to sleep. So.
Alrighty. Valian obviously says a wonderful prayer here as we all continue moving forward. Zachary, are you back?
Can I ask you a quick roleplay question?
Sure.
When we see these skeletons, do we hate them
that's
because
too long.
they're undead?
That's too long. Sorry, it needs to be faster. You have to ask it more quickly.
Victims or aberrations? How do we see these undead?
Well, I don't know. How do you see them? Obviously, skeletal creatures of this kind, there's, half a dozen ways that they came into existence. They could have been so evil in life that this is their penance in death. It could have been some evil necromancer who animated them just recently. It could be an after effect of evil within the hill itself that has caused it. It could be that one of you is attempting to defy the odds and break their ethos to the point where they want to use shields to defend non-dwarves, and it causes, Clang Eden to be so angry that he sends skeletons after them. It could be any of those things, and it depends upon how you want to interpret it until you get more evidence.
Damn it, you just made it complex. All right. Quick prayer for them. They might have been victims. I'll talk to the Lathander priest later and see what he thinks.
Okay. Welcome back, Michaela. So is Zachary back? We're going to keep going without Zachary. Zachary...
Michaela's going to make sure he recovers his dagger.
Tough to find. What I want you to do is to make a wisdom check out in the open for me.
No problem. It did hit just
Oh, so, if it hit, then you can find it. No problems. So, not an issue with that. Okay, my apologies.
Yeah. No
so, Zachary is still trying to, recover from nearly killing Caleth. So, he is not really speaking as we are, conducting this. He's with the party, but spiritually, he's he doesn't want to take the lead at this point in time. We were just coming up to another cross section, another four-way intersection here. We can continue heading northwesterly, which is the trail we are on. We can turn more northerly, or we can turn southerly. Zachary quickly looks and says that it appears to him as if the skeletal creatures actually originally came up from the south.
Steven, before we continue, I wanted to point the group's attention to something I posted on the group chat so that we won't have the same fiasco we did last time with the bodies of the merchants we didn't bury. If anyone has anything to add specific to their character that they're consistently going to do their combat, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, please let me know, update it, so that we won't forget to attend the wounded and pray for the dead and bury the bodies and loot like we did last time.
Yeah. Are we at the third intersection, or is this a further fourth intersection?
So this is to the best of your recollection, it is the third intersection, but this one is just a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes past the second intersection.
Okay.
That is to the best of your recollection. And, some of you were banged around a little bit, so if you're listening to those people, They may not be entirely coherent. So what would the party like to do? As Zachary is, really not up to making a decision right now. Yes.
I'm yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay.
He's back.
So we are at another intersection here, Zachary. You have realized that the skeletons probably came up from the south. The party's choices are northwest, north, south, or just go back the direction they came.
Which one leads uphill? The northern way.
Well, the northwesterly way is the way you were traveling. You can't forge while you move. It has to be an intentional thing, especially in this light and in this weather. So if you're northwesterly is the way you were going, and that's definitely leading up towards the hill. But north is also climbing the hill. And at this point, the south section is climbing the hill as well. Because the hill is now just going up all around you. The only way that's not going up would be if you went back east.
Okay, so I will first of all see which trail or track is the most used.
Okay, make a tracking
then I'll
check in the tower, please.
And then I'll just try and discern, if I can, what type of creatures. So let's go.
Well, obviously, just a few moments ago, these skeletal creatures trampled in this area, and they've obscured most of the recent tracks. They appear to have come up from the south. You cannot really figure out at this intersection which one has been moved the most. You're going to have to move maybe 10 yards down further south to see, or 10 yards further north, or 10 yards further to the northwest to see if you can pick up a different set of tracks.
Well, I turn to the party and I'll say, well, from what I've seen of the lay of the land here, all paths lead up the hill, and none seem more important than any other.
Let's pick a direction then. Maybe north?
I say we continue down this road to the northwest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Along the way we were going.
Not a problem for me. So we're traveling. This is obviously a longer section of the trail. We've traveled easily another half an hour at this point. And the weather itself hasn't gotten any better. It's still gray and cloudy, closing in on 11 a.m. in the morning. I would like for everyone to roll percentile dice for me if they do not mind. And if you do mind, do it anyway.
I was trying to say I covered my axe.
Docky. Alrighty, so just a moment. 82. Okay, so that is Kalindric. Just a moment. Did you see that, Kalindric?
Can I pretend I didn't see it?
No, I'm just asking if you saw it first. That's the most important
yeah.
thing there. All right, so you were just dealt a card, and I'm going to tell you what that is. You have to tell, as we're going on along here, you need to tell us of either a recent victory or a victory that you wanted to have, or some victory from your race you have to share with us as you're going along. Something about this trail and the battle you were just in, really wanted to get this out. So bring as many people as you can into it. Get everyone engaged if you can, but tell us a brief story of victory that you are aware of.
And if I refuse, what happens?
Absolutely nothing happens.
I refuse then.
Okay, no problems. We will keep going. Probably another 20 to 30 minutes or so passing. We're still haven't seen another branch off of this trail. It is now after 11 a.m. in the morning. We're probably closing in at 11:15 or so. Thereabouts is what we are thinking. Still no other branches, but we are steadily climbing higher and higher and higher. Now we're closing in on just at about noon. and the rain itself is beginning to drop. Maybe just because you're higher at this point, you estimate you're probably 250 feet or more up, in the air from where you started, that much higher. And you can sort of hear like maybe a faint flutter of something in the trees, and maybe a light screech as everyone sort of looks around for a moment, trying to see exactly where that may have been coming from. Just a moment.
What was that?
Can I use my animal lore
Noises.
to try to identify if that was just like a normal bird screech?
I
You
would
can make an
also
animal
like
lore
to.
check in the tower.
I should also like to do that. How do
Likewise.
I make that check?
Do you have animal
there
lore?
it is.
There you go. Okay.
Yes.
Just a moment.
So by my reckoning, we're about 1/3 of the way up the hill.
I got animal research.
Animal research, what?
I got the researcher skill.
Yeah, I got animal law.
Is the tower still in the same place?
I don't know where the tower is for you. People can move their towers
Lower
around.
right, normally.
It's a silhouette. It's a little dark silhouette.
Yeah.
It's a little dark silhouette.
Same color as the chat window is hardest spot.
Yeah. It's
I
there
would
it
like
is.
to say, to me, this sounds like a bat.
I agree. It was not a bird call. It sounded like a bat.
Oh, a bat. Okay.
Hector doesn't have a response. He just nods.
The Batman.
You know, at some point I'll need one of those.
A Batman?
A bat.
Oh.
Yeah. The droppings of it, to be specific.
Oh, the guano.
Yeah. At some point.
I can let everybody know it was a dog barking or pouting or whining or something.
Huh? Okay.
If everyone is looking at everyone kind of confusedly. Two individuals say it was probably a bat, and then maybe 2 minutes pass after that as Hector is relieving himself, and Docky tells everyone, no, it was a dog that was barking. So the dwarf obviously gets this disdainful look on his face and looks up at the elf and just shrugs, and the elf looks at everyone else as if they don't know what they're talking about. These people obviously have no idea what a dog and a bat sounds like. If they're that foolish, you know.
Someone take his temperature.
I feel like I'm going into the Twilight Zone.
Alrighty, so we are continuing to travel further. Probably 15 minutes after this, we've come to a more tangled sort of intersection. Not only do you have the path that you just welcome back, we were assuming you were relieving yourself off of the trail, where two of your companions said, "Hey, we just heard a bat," and then the elf said, "No, I heard a dog." So they're debating internally about which one of them is correct. But we have just crossed another larger intersection. The trail behind you still continues a bit further towards the northwest, but you can see that there's a set of caves, one larger opening and several smaller openings, maybe just at the far edge of what you can see with the bit of light that's that you have and that's coming through the clouds. Then there are three more branches of this trail going north. Let's say one is going north by northwest, one is going north by northeast, and one is going north by northeast.
Am I to believe that the tracks that I've been looking at, I haven't been able to discern without a doubt that one of the tracks were human? Is that right?
Yeah, you haven't been able to discern without a doubt. They have been at least, none of them have been small. None of them have been overly large. But they very well could have been elven, half-orc, half-elf, human, any of the races that would fit hobgoblin, any of those things, because they all were booted. They weren't barefoot.
The footprints I'm really looking for are of little old ladies.
Understood. You haven't seen any little old lady footprints for sure.
Anything like that. Okay, cool. So I will get down on my haunches again, and I will stare intently at the ground and do like a monk and move around.
Okay, looking for tracks or just pretending you're like.
No, looking for tracks. I'm just getting my right. Just finding it.
Would you make a
Let's
tracking
see.
check in the tower, please?
Yeah, no, I was just trying to find it.
Thank you. Just a moment.
And I was also thinking that maybe we can go up to that cave and secure it as a temporary base.
As a place to.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Assuming it's
Come
enough,
on.
but
Yeah.
Or we clear it out for whatever's. I mean, unless it's a dragon or something. But
No,
It might be the old women.
monastery.
might be for Bernie. These are caves. I don't think it's the monastery. Monastery would be.
Oh, sorry. The dragon was in the caverns, right? Sorry.
oh, that's
Under the hill.
Under the hill. Okay. So it couldn't be.
And this could be the old women. Or it could be honestly slavers.
Well, look, by our reckoning, we're about. You said we're 200 feet above the river. And we know that.
And you've got
We
some
know
more.
that-
I just gave you more information, Zachary. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I will have a look at now. And my scouting revealed that the hill is at least 600 feet high. So we're only like a third of the way up.
Okay.
Old
What
dragon
time of the
slave
day is
woman, yeah.
this at the moment? What time of the day?
Just after noon.
Oh, we better, yeah. We better step up or find a place to hole up for the night later. Because we're just a third and it's already the afternoon.
So I get up off the ground and I say, there aren't many tracks around here, but the ones that are here are leading up to, and I point up the hill to that cave.
There's definitely a flatter, section of a clearing there, and you can see a larger cave that is probably large enough for the tallest of you to walk in without having to duck. And there are several smaller caves off to the left and to the right of it that would, even the smallest of you wouldn't be able to climb through those. But it is in on a flattened out section, like a cliffside of this hill itself, maybe a 20 to 30 yard wide clearing area there. And it looks like there may be something behind some of a collection of bush that is there as well. You'll have to get closer to make out what that may be, but it's either a large boulder or the corner of something. That's about what you can make out from this distance.
I could sneak up there and have a look around.
Probably a good idea.
That's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Okay, so I will move up the path a little bit and I'll
Okay,
jump off into
so
the
you're
bushes.
starting to sneak off by yourself. Is that correct?
I mean, how far is it?
Oh, it's easily, the clearing itself is probably 40 yards away. This section that is covered by the bush, where there's like a corner of something or, a boulder there, is another 20 yards past that.
So if I got into combat, how many rounds would it take for the party to arrive?
It really depends upon how far you were away from them. If you were at the furthest point that I described and it was accurate, 40 yards is 120, feet. So they can move, say, on 40 feet per round, so 3 to 5 rounds if they heard the battle.
Well, then maybe we should get a little bit closer, and then myself and maybe even Alice can sneak up and have a look.
I like that.
Sounds like a plan.
So we within 2 rounds for.
Okay, so the whole
The
party
most.
moving up, that's not an issue whatsoever. We move up to the edge of this flattened out clearing itself. And as I said, at this point, Docky can make out better details, and the rest of you get a better line of sight as well. There is what does appear to be a statue. The bush that is around the statue at this distance looks like it was packed along the statue, like something intentionally, maybe at one end has blown some of it down. You're still a little too clearer here. It's on a slight rise in this clearing, and there are definitely footprints that are leading up into it because the roof of the cave has a lip that sort of hangs out at the instance. And Darius has just said that, his power just had a power outage there. So if we lose the paladin, we will just assume he's gone brain dead. Thick bushes are really choking out the entrances around both this statue and the cave itself. By the cave, they appear to be naturally growing, but by the statue, they appear to have been stacked up to hide the statue.
This brush and wood and that, is it ignitable? Could we...
Definitely if it was dried out. If you poured some oil on it in this rain, it would burn for a while. But it has been steadily raining, although at a light rain, for 4 days. Very cloudy, so it's a very muddy, wet, slippery, bit of bush that you're dealing with. Yes, oil would burn at least some of it, but it wouldn't have the burning duration that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, it's useless.
You said the footprints led to the cave, or just all over the clearing?
Well, they appear. You can all see at the edge of the cave itself, where there's sort of a step up into the cave that the dwarf doesn't think is natural. That's not a natural formation, and the rest of you kind of agree because it's very rectangular shaped. And then there's also like a hint of a roof, a lip hanging off over the top of the cave itself. You can see that's a bit drier than some of the surrounding areas, and there are muddied footprints leading into that.
Could I discern whether they are small, medium, or large creatures?
Get a little bit closer, like right up on them to be able to determine that. But from the stride that you can see here, they're probably all nearly your height. If they were much shorter, then they were moving quickly, trying to get a longer stride.
I think that's a good idea, Kalendric. Have our scout.
We can do that. So I will move up as stealthily and as silently as I can, and see if I can glean any more information close up.
Okay. What I would like for you to do is look at your skills tab on your character sheet, and drag your move silently into the tower, and then drag your hide in shadows into the tower as you are slowly moving towards this area.
At that point, I do have to go pick up my beehive.
Alrighty. So
I think. Well,
go ahead.
Hector said he would run my character for me. I don't know if he is here. Says he's sleeping. I have typed everything in the journal up to this point. So let's see. How do I make that public? Let me share this. It's public. The Dardania's Journal 2.
Okay.
It is public, and it goes all the way up to Zachary snuck up to scout the area.
Okay.
How do I add to that?
Type in it.
I think you should be able to just type right in it.
Go down to the
You
bottom
can't.
where the word area is the last word, and at that full stop at the end of area, click once and then go da-da-da-da and type a bunch of letters like that.
It is not letting me do it.
Okay, so then don't worry about that. Look
Okay.
on the right
Just
hand.
start a new journal.
Yep.
No, just start a new journal.
Player notes.
But thanks for the session. Sorry I got to
No
leave
problem.
early. I will catch you all on the Discord later on.
Yes, we're all
Later.
just getting used to this. Good luck with the beehive. I hope it's everything you needed it to be.
Oh, it will be.
Okay.
It will. I love my bees. They're my favorites. Hey, should I leave my my fantasy ground open, or that
No, you
won't
should
like
close
close
your
off
fantasy
my
grounds.
character?
Because I have
Okay.
to take ownership away and then let Hector take ownership. So Hector, give me a moment, and then you go to characters when I tell you to.
Okay.
Later, y'all.
Okay. Later.
Okay.
Later.
That's my
That titanic raging storm of I'm not sure who that is, but the heavy mouth breathing. Go to the
That's me
character
again.
selection and choose Dardania. Do you have enough real estate screen space to play 2 characters?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be alright.
Hey Steve, it's Nandi. Darius, I'm turning on a generator, but my computer shut down. But I can hear you guys through Discord on my phone.
That's
but
fine.
I'm
So we will
turning
run
on a
through
generator.
in any if you can't get your generator on, just stay in Discord and we can handle everything verbally for you. It's fine. Okay.
That is awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Were you able to take control of Dardania? Yes, you are 151. Okay, good. So we've got that sorted out. I would like for everyone to note that Zachary appears to be a bit nervous as he's approaching the cave entrance. It's him, himself. He's alone. Caleth hasn't mentioned going with him. Caleth is still kind of wary of traveling with Zachary because he was just pecked with 2 arrows earlier. So he doesn't want to be alone with him. And the rest of you are noticing that while Zachary is taking very, very good care to move slowly and intentionally, it seems as if his movements are so exaggerated that he is just really sticking out, and he's splashing his foot unintentionally into the puddles of water as he walks. You've made it to the edge of this cave here as quietly and as stealthily as you could. Your companions did not call out and tell you otherwise, so you must have done so exceptionally well.
I'm a god among strangers.
Exactly. This is a rather larger cave entrance than you were at first expecting. Once you get up over that first step and you can have a look into this is easily going to very quickly widen to about 15 feet from what you can see at this point. You don't have a torch or anything, and the ceiling is also going to go up at least that high. So this is a large cave. You can smell lots of guano, but also older, not recent, wood smoke, things like that from the area. No really recent wood smoke, but at least strong enough and often enough in this area to leave a faint trace even now.
Okay, so I'll look on the ground and see if I can identify you said it was muddy tracks that it walked in.
Correct.
Can I try and see if I can identify those?
Okay, just a moment. Sorry, my phone is telling me that I got messages that I don't want to hear about. Sorry about that. Just a second moment, I'll give you the rest of your information.
Those are all the messages I ever get.
The savior.
Most of the time, the only messages that go through me are that I actually have set are from the people in my in-person game group or my wife and daughter. But sometimes messages just creep up because you get random messages from people.
Mhm.
Sorry, that last bit. Just heavily wounded, not heavy wound. Sorry, like a heavily wounded one in tow.
Okay, cool. I will then also see if I'll kneel at the entrance, hiding my best hide, and I'll listen and see if I can discern any sounds coming from deeper in the.
You can roll a hide and
Kevin?
shadows in the tower.
I don't want to go deeper in. I just want to
Right, I know, but you're attempting
stay there a bit
You were
longer.
just
and jump in.
you broke your hiding when you were reinvestigating the tracks, right? So, all right, hold on a moment. This is information for you.
Okay, cool. I will then move silently back to my companions.
Make a move silent roll, please. Thank you. You stumbled just a bit coming off of the lip and sort of stubbed your toe through your heavy boot there. And you then you get back to creeping. Your party is looking at you.
So do I make it back to my
Yeah, you
party?
made it back to your party. Unmolested.
So I get back in, I dust my hands off and I say, now that was mighty fine work if you ask me. So when I was up at the entrance, I saw that there were definitely 6 sets of tracks, maybe 4 hours ago, and they were heavily booted, and there was one of them that was heavily wounded. There were bits of blood splatter, and from the amount of drops on the floor, I deduced that he was quite badly wounded.
Did they just go in the cave, or did they go in and come back out?
The tracks I saw only led into the cave.
So we can assume that there's at least 5 potential adversaries inside that cave somewhere.
Yes, I believe so. Maybe more, at least.
Yeah, maybe 6. One's heavily wounded, though.
I hope we don't attack an adventuring party. We gotta make sure if we kill anybody that they're enemies.
Well, yeah.
Is that like midday, DM?
Yes.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midday. Okay, cool.
What would you folks like to do?
I say we investigate.
Do we want to take a closer look at that statue first? It's weird that somebody tried to hide it.
Yeah.
I think we should.
That was a great cat.
Oh, so moving as a group or what?
Moving
Yes.
as a group.
Okay.
As a group, yeah.
Doesn't really take you much,
Yeah.
much longer to get there than what you maybe 2 minutes from where you were, quickly moving there, and you brushing some of the brush off so you can see. This is really at the top of a steep incline where it just fades down into this open area where there is the cave on the northern section of this open flat area here. It's a kind of a rough-looking idol statue, because it looks like there's a flat plane at the bottom where offerings at some time in the past have been placed. You can see there's little holes for incense, etc., to be put there. It's definitely some kind of a strange, fat, squatting, vaguely human-looking figure, and its face is twisted into like this demonic, evil-looking laugh. I'm not sure, Kalendric, what skills would you like to try? How would you like to try to identify it?
I would like to see if it reminds me of any religious iconography or avatars from any of the religious gods we know.
Well, then you were able to make a Deathic religion check in the tower.
We're all up there.
Yes, everyone is up there.
Kalath is.
I want to also take a look at this statue.
Again, you're looking at it. What are you attempting to discern?
What, if it's related to Bane or some deity?
It's immediately, it's not related to Bane. Bane was too proud of an individual for such a statue that's this ugly and fat and unappealing to ever be used to represent him. It may be a representation of another deity. Do you have religion Fey run?
Yes.
Kalendric, you can make...
You mentioned there were offerings?
There's a place to have put offerings. There are no offerings currently.
Okay.
Maybe it's got something to do with this dragon that's supposedly under this mountain.
Dardania will give it a shot as well.
Anyone
I'm
who's
seeing
having
here
to look
that-
at it.
Yeah, I'm seeing here that
Darius
he
has
is-
Fey room, but I'll need somebody else to roll for him.
Just a moment. I'm sharing information with... I saw that Kalendric... Okay. And Dardania...
Don't know if it helps, but Darius has Fey room.
Yes, we will just give us a moment to make a roll for you. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. Darius can't really recall anything at all. Bits and pieces of you have different types of information.
Beast Lord. Would animal lore help?
You could
Is that
try to see if there's any animal resemblances. You can make an animal lore check in the tower. We're spending a bit of time here staring at this. I mean, it is somewhat piggish. You could possibly connect it to a boar. I mean, it might be a stretch. That's what both of you would think, but it's not, not impossible. Just someone giving an evil-looking grimace, to a fat, rounded, squat, human-like figure.
Is it possible to see if this figure is present in the mythology or history of Cormyr?
It is possible for you to attempt to do anything. You can make an ancient history Kingdom of Cormyr check if that's what you're attempting to do.
That is what I would like to do. Open or in
the
secret?
tower.
It's in secret.
Okay, this is what you have for that.
I tell the group that it seems to be mostly just a local fairy deity idol, nothing really special.
Which contrasts directly with what Kalendric said. Not directly, but somewhat.
I read it in a book once.
Clear as mud.
I think he said clear as mud. Let me turn him up a bit. What are we doing, gentlemen?
Watching the entrance while everybody does this.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
suppose
would
we
suggest
move on
that
to
we-
the cave at this point.
Both of the people that were just talking, you talked over one another to the point where I didn't understand either one of you. Could you repeat yourselves?
Suggest we return to the cave to continue our investigation.
Okay. Everyone
Same.
else in agreement with that? Okay.
Yep.
So maneuvering into this cave itself, at this point, those of you who have your lanterns, go ahead and replace. You'll need another flask of oil.
Okay.
And whoever had the torch, I'm assuming you put the torch out when people had their lanterns lit. Otherwise, your torch is long since gone.
That would have been Dardania,
Yeah.
so I would assume so. She's been healing and.
Yeah, I turned the torch off just to make sure. I just want to make sure that no one was like, no, I refuse to. I want my torch to be used up. You get some strange requests from players. We all know that. Antonio should tell you about this. Who was it?
M&M's for every long rest.
Who was the guy, Antonio, who played in your Pathfinder game, who had the paladin, who had the weird fetish?
Oh, that was Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, we'll get back to non-weirdness.
I can either delete all of my oil. I cannot reduce the quantity in my inventory.
So can you? Where it says 4, can you change that to 3?
Nope. Oh, never mind. I'm waiting for it to highlight or get a cursor or something.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? So that's why I always say the interface for Fantasy Grounds isn't always very intuitive.
No problem. Got it.
All right, no problems at all. So we're heading back to this cave itself, and once we have our lights, we can see, as I said, that stepping up past this first stone and just under that lip of a roof, this cave widens to easily be 15 feet at the section that you can see here. And the most overwhelming smell that you can see, or that you have, is one of guano. Just bat guano having filled in almost your entire noses here. So you are fairly certain that there are going to be, or have been in the recent past, bats throughout this cave.
Or maybe dogs.
That's
Is guano a useful component for anything?
Yes.
Yeah, I am very interested in gathering some of these. And cover my mouth because it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, that can come second, but it just occurred to me. I believe it's used in some spells.
Bat guano is used in Fireball. Yes.
Fireball.
Oh, okay, yeah. That makes sense.
That's a very good
Something else
fertilizer.
you can sell it back in Fort Guido. Michaela's going to take a moment while getting accustomed to the smell to also try to listen intently to detect any noise from further in.
Would you make a detect noise check in my tower? Just before I answer you, is Calith here?
He said he said in
Yeah, he said his son woke up, so I'm just trying to figure
he said
out.
in Discord that he was back.
Okay.
But he may need to go again.
No problem. I'm just checking to see as far as that goes. Give me just a moment, if you do not mind there. I will provide you with some information. Mouth breathing again.
Did they just go in?
It's okay, man.
We got a deviated septum. They're going to work on it.
We thought you just enjoyed our company that much.
Well, there's a little bit of that too.
Yes, I believe so.
The first thing and the only thing that you noticed from hearing,
86.
you
wounded, though.
heard a piece of
I hope we don't attack an
plank into
adventurous
something,
party.
and you
We
look
gotta make
just
sure
at
before we
the edge
kill
of your
anybody
light,
that they're
you can see
enemies.
this piece of information that I'm sharing with you. Hold
Is
on.
that like midday, DM?
Yes.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midday, okay, cool.
Sorry, fat finger disease all of a sudden. What would you? folks like to do?
I say we investigate.
Do we
There you
want
go,
to
Michaela.
take a closer look at that statue first? It's weird that somebody tried to hide it.
Yeah.
I think we
So
should.
your
That was a
so
great
you want
catch.
to switch positions in marching order or just in life?
so
you want
moving
to
as
become
a group
blade singer
or
and have him
what?
become a champion?
Moving
Yes.
as a group.
As a group, yeah.
Marching order.
Doesn't really
Okay,
take
there we
you
go.
much,
Yep.
much longer to get
I knew
there
that. I was just messing
than
with you.
what maybe.
I can't believe the elf from
so
where you
willingly
were
was like,
quickly
sure, I'll
moving
let
there,
the
and
dwarf
you
up here.
brushing some of the brush off so you can see.
No, I'll let the
this
dwarf
is
be
really
a
at the
blade
top
singer. I'm gonna, like, teach
of
him.
a steep incline where it just fades down
Squinting
into
forward
this
into
open
the
area
dark,
Clearly.
where there is the cave
Michaela
on the
whispers
northern
to the
section
group,
of this open
someone's
flat
came
area
through
here.
before.
It's
Just about 30 feet
kind of a
in.
rough-looking idol statue.
Because it looks like there's a flat plane at the
I have a
bottom
question,
where
dear.
offerings at I have some an answer. time in
Half-
the past have been
half
placed.
orcs.
You can see there's
Are
little
they
holes for
very rare
incense,
at
etc.
the
to be
moment?
put there.
So
it's definitely
the
some
ones
kind of
that
a
can be identified
strange as being
fat,
half-orcs
squatting, vaguely
are,
human-looking
far
figure,
more common than those
and
who
its
pass
face
as
is
human.
twisted into
but
this
they still don't
demonic,
make up a
evil-looking
tremendous
laugh.
amount of the population.
Mm.
The 10
I'm not
characters
sure,
that you can
Kalinzi,
see
what
here,
skills would you like to
with humans
try?
being
How would you like to try to
half
identify
or
it?
more, really represent the the real representations of
I
the
would like to
races
see
in
if
the
it
areas you're from,
reminds me
and
of
that
any
one
religious
half orc that you can see
iconography or
would
avatars
be
from
a
any
a
of the
good
religious gods we know.
representation
well,
of
then
that as
you
well.
were
So
able to
less
make
than
a
10%
Dethic religion check
of
in the tower.
people that are considered livable
We're all up
individuals,
there?
that are
Yes,
welcome
everyone
in
is up
society would be half orcs.
I want to also
It is
take a look
definitely
at this,
not a common
statue.
thing, and you have to fight
Again,
your own
you're
prejudices
looking at it.
to ignore the fact
What are
that
you
Hector
attempting
is
to
a half
discern?
orc.
Because
sorry, go ahead.
am I
Well,
right to say that
if it's
when
related
second edition
to
came out, there wasn't a half orc?
Bane,
There was in
player?
the
or
humanoid
some
handbook.
deity.
So
It's
what was that?
immediately,
It's not
related
not
to
in the player's
Bane.
handbook as a playable
Bane
race.
was too proud of an
because
individual
they thought
for
such
they
a
thought that it
statue
was
that's
this
this
ugly
Do you
and
remember when
fat
Second
and
Edition came out in
unappealing
'89?
to
It was
ever be
right at
used
the end
against
of the
him.
Satanic Panic.
I
It
don't-
may be
I was
a
playing
representation
two time
of
at this
another
time.
deity.
so
I
do you
remember
have
specifically
Religion Fey
they
run?
changed the name of demons and devils
Kalendra,
to
you
Tanari
can-
and Betazu, and
There-
they got away from lots of things, and
You mentioned there were
took the
offerings?
half orcs out because the
There's a
half
place
orcs
to
were
have put
supposedly,
offerings. There are no offerings
too
from-
devilish. Of course, now they say that half orcs are,
Maybe it's got
something
something to do
entirely
with this
different anyway.
dragon.
But
that
yes, it was very,
supposedly
very
comes out.
strange back at that
Dardania
time.
will
I
give them
doubt
In
this one.
America, all of this
Anyone
was
who's
coming
having
out
a
of
look
the
at
end
it.
of what was known as the Satanic Panic.
here,
Darius has
era.
Fey room, but I'll need somebody else to roll for him.
Google when you have some
Okay.
time the Jack Chick articles and just read them. They are the funniest things. Just a moment.
I don't know. I was born in the '60s, so I was playing D&D through the Satanic Panic.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't born in the '60s, but I was playing D&D when I was 8, so I started
sharing
very young.
information with.
I saw that Kalindric.
So basically, none of you have a soul, is what you're saying. You sold it off.
Well, I kind of rented mine out, but that's a different style of life, That's a
Don't know if it
different
helps,
game.
but,
That was
Darius
called, like,
has Fey
Hoes
room.
and Brooches. That's what that game was called. Yes, we will just give us a moment to make a roll for you. At this point in time, what are we doing, my compadres?
Well, Zachary would like to explore the cavern.
But we're worried that there's people in here, one possible injured, maybe a flavor of half orcs. So
Darius can't
we're
really
trying
recall
not to get
anything
surprised.
at all. Bits and pieces.
Trying
of
not
have
to get
different
surprised,
types of information, as opposed to trying to get surprised.
We've got lanterns. We've got
Wait, animal
lanterns
lore
and a dwarf in metal armor. So
You could
is that
Well,
try to
the
see
odds-
some
the odds of
animal resemblances.
There's humanoid size, so it's definitely not
Animal lore
goblins
check
or
in the tower. We're
kobolds.
spending a bit of time here
Right.
staring at this. So one of the things, the moment that
it
everyone
is somewhat
steps foot
piggish.
inside the cave,
You could possibly
a
connect
sharp
it to a boar.
challenge is issued, probably from, let's
I mean, it might be
say,
a stretch. That's what both of them
30,
think, but
40
it's-
yards.
It's not
beyond your
not impossible.
bit of light.
Just someone
I'm
giving
not showing
a-
the cave to everyone
a
just yet because we don't
evil-looking
need to.
grimace,
The
you know,
challenge does not come out in
fat,
common. It comes out in a different language, so I'm going to type it out. Some of you may or may not recognize it, so let's
Is
see.
it possible to see if this figure is present in the
If anyone
mythology
understood
or
that,
history of Cormier?
Tell me.
It is possible.
So if
for
you
to
understood
attempt to do
something,
anything,
if you can
make
translate
an
it, then
ancient
you understood
history
the Kingdom of Cormier check, if that's what you're
I
attempting.
do not.
That is what I would like to do. Open or
Dardania
secret?
steps forward.
Nope. That looks
In
like
what
a password.
language? Can you whisper exactly what language that was?
To whom?
To Dardania.
Can I? Why would she know?
Calendric responds in a
What you have for
loud,
that?
confident dwarven voice. He states his name, his rank, and what he's doing there.
I tell the group that it
Say
seems
that.
to be
Obviously,
mostly
you don't
just
know the
a
word,
local
but if you
fairy
did, I'll give you lots of
deity,
role playing,
idol,
playing.
nothing really special.
But say your name and your rank and your full title,
which
for
contrasts
me if you
directly
do not
with
mind.
what Calendric said.
Accent.
Not directly, but somewhat.
No accent. I'm not feeling good today.
I read it in
I'm
a
sorry,
book once.
I don't recall the exact rank of the dwarven priest at this moment.
Just your class, the specialty priest name of your class is your rank, and you're a champion of that faith. And then your whole name, if you don't mind. What are we doing, gentlemen?
Watching the entrance while everybody does this. And commonly states name as Calendric of Clan Star, Stone of the Iron Star, Priest of
Both of the people that were just talking, you talked over one another to the point where I didn't understand either one of you. Could you repeat yourself? That sounded like a pirate. Sorry.
And Silverbeard, and we are here to rescue the soul.
Suggest we return to
One
the cave
voice
to
shouts
continue
back
our
at you.
investigation.
Okay. Everyone else is the response. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Again, in this
So maneuvering
in
into
this
this
other
itself,
voice
at
that's
this point,
coming
those
back
of you who have your
in
lanterns,
a
go ahead
slightly
and
different
replace-
form of
you'll need
graded
another flask of
stone. It's
oil.
definitely dethic.
Okay.
And Volv
The-
figured
whoever
this
had
out because
the-
the dwarf is
the torch, I'm
understanding
assuming
it.
you put the torch out when people
It's
had
not
their
common,
lanterns
but it
lit.
is a
Otherwise your
different
torch is
type
long
of dethic.
since gone.
We know how you can
That
obviously
would have been
tell
Dardania.
that
So
someone is
I
from
would
a
assume
certain
so.
part of
She's
the
been
world when they
healing.
speak English
Yeah,
in a certain
I turned
way.
the torch off
You know,
just-
like
just to make
northern
sure. I just wanna make
Londoners
sure
or
that
people
no
from
one,
deep down in Mississippi.
was like, no,
they
I
have
refuse to. I want my torch
tremendously
to be
different
used up.
accents. These accents that you are hearing,
players, we all know
Calendric's
that.
dwarven sounds what you would expect a dwarf to sound like.
And
The
Tony
other
should
one
tell you about
sounds
this.
like someone
was it?
who is speaking it
Who was the guy
with a level of authority,
Antonio, who
but
played
without
the
a
Pathfinder
level
game, who
of
had the paladin,
ownership
who had
of
the
the
weird
language.
fetish?
Oh, that
Well,
was
then continue.
Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty.
Dwarven.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Weird. Anyway, we'll get back to non-weirdness.
Return.
Because
not.
You will not be harmed.
I can either delete all of my oil. I cannot reduce the quantity in my inventory.
so can you? Where it says 4, can you change that to 3?
Nope. Oh, never mind. I'm waiting for it to highlight or get a cursor or something.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? So that's why I always say the interface for Fantasy Grounds isn't always very intuitive.
No problem. Got it.
All right, no problem.
If you're speaking in
So
Dethic,
we're heading
you
back
whisper
to this
to him so
cave
none of us
itself.
would
Once
understand
we
what's
have our
going on?
lights, we can see,
should,
as I
Yeah, I'm
said,
pretending I
that
don't understand what's going on,
stepping
but I
up
think
past
we
this
can
first
start
stone and just under
inferring
that
something
lip of
from
a
the
roof,
tone.
this cave
most certainly
lies
can
from the
to
tone easily be 15
Yes.
feet at the section that you can see here, and the most overwhelming
Zachary,
smell
shoot Calendric.
that you can see or that you have is
Oh,
one
he has to be
of
adjacent to me first.
guano.
Eh?
Just bat guano having filled in almost this, your entire nose is here. So you are fairly certain that there are going to be, or have been in the recent past, bats throughout this cave.
Or maybe dog.
That's a
Is
very good
guano a
business
useful
opportunity.
component for anything?
Yes. Yeah, I am very
Hello,
interested in gathering some of these.
Yeah, I stabbed the spear next to Hector and pull out my longsword. This guy's gonna get us in trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that
boy.
can come second, but it
I
just
hope
occurred
sleep
to me.
works
I
on this
believe
guy.
it's used in some spells.
Baguanos used
Yeah.
Watch the
Carboys.
old lady,
Carboys.
dragon
Oh,
slayer
okay,
come
yeah,
out.
yeah. That makes sense.
It's also very good
Nothing
fertilizer.
else you can sell it back in
Yep.
Fort Beetle. Michaela's going to take a moment while getting accustomed to the smell to also
I'm going to blame
try
Docky
to
for that.
listen intently to detect
Hey.
any noise from further
Yeah.
and get you.
You just
Which
seem
makes
like you
the
needed to be
tech noise
blamed. You
check
didn't
in
want to
my
be left
tower.
out. So
Fair.
all right.
before I
So
answer
we
you,
do
is
not
Caliph
immediately
here?
see exactly what is going on here. I'm going to
He said
share this
he-
map.
He said in
They said his son
everyone.
woke up, so I'm
Discord-
just trying to
well, he
figure
said
out.
in Discord
And
he
you're
was
going to
back,
hear
but he may need
half
to
a dozen
kill
or
him.
so footsteps
No
I'm just
checking
trudging
to-
towards
to
you.
see as far as that goes. Give me
And
just a moment.
in just a moment,
If you do not mind
you'll be
there,
able to make out
and I
that.
will
But
provide
at
you
this
with some
point,
information.
only one of you knows precisely what is going on and knows
Mouth
that it's
breathing again.
ahead of you. You
Damn
should
it.
all be able to see
It's
this
okay,
map.
man.
Would you all turn and make sure
We gotta
you're facing
deviate
to
and
the
zap them.
left
They're
that
gonna
you
work
should be
on.
facing.
We
But
thought
there is
you just
another
enjoyed
cry,
our company that much.
more of like a battle cry that comes
Well,
out.
there's a little bit of
that
that,
sounds
too.
very harsh and Klingon-like. And at
the
this
first
point,
thing and the only thing that
it's
you
not
notice from
obviously
hearing
in Dwarven at all, nor is it in
you
common. It's
heard
more like a piece of like wood clank into
as you can
something.
hear
And you look and just footsteps coming towards everyone.
No one
You
is
can
taken
see
back
this
and
piece
is
of information
surprised.
that I'm sharing.
So
we're
gonna
going to start with
um,
Alaric. What is your
hold
intended
on.
action?
Oh boy. Move around and provide
Sorry,
light again.
Fat finger disease all of a sudden. Caliph, if Caliph is not here, Caliph is going to sneak off as he is.
Oh, Kenneth is here. He will sneak
There you go,
off,
Michaela.
as it were, without drawing weapons quite yet.
No problems, Docky.
Alright.
So
Docky will
your
move forward.
so you want to switch
the,
positions
front
in
line
marching
for,
order or just in life? So you want to become a blade singer and have him become a champion?
Yeah, we're gonna
Like
take
this.
spot.
Marching
Not a
order.
problem. Okay, there we go. That is just your movement initiative, the
I knew that.
default
I was
one.
just messing
Yep.
with you.
Okay. I can't believe
Dardania
the
is
elf
doing
so
what?
willingly was like, sure, I'll let the dwarf up here. Oh, let me. I fixed it. Now you can roll initiative.
No, I'll let the dwarf be a blade singer. I'm gonna like teach him.
Squinting forward into the dark,
Clearly.
Michaela whispers to the group.
What
Someone has
should
come
I
through
do
before,
here?
just about 30 feet in.
I'll come back to you.
I have a
What's the
question,
area
dear.
doing? I have an answer.
The
sir.
half orcs.
Or drawn.
Are they
Spears left and next to
very
Hector.
rare?
Hopefully he stays there. And can I move
So the
without
ones
losing
that
a lot of
can
time
be identified
about here?
as being
Yeah,
half
just to
orcs.
send
So this
next
is like
to
a
Zachary.
smooth section. So
far
you have
more
the actual
common
movement
than those
shown
who
on
pass
your
as
character
human.
sheet. You're not
but
outside of the
they
hill.
still
You're in
don't
a
make up a
smooth
tremendous
interior
amount
of a cave
of the population.
So you can move
The
to
10
there when
characters
it's
that you
your
can
turn.
see here,
But are you readying a weapon? With humans being
I draw my
half
sword,
or more
but is it
really
possible
represent
low ready
the,
so
you know,
it's
the
not
real
menacingly, but it's
representations
out?
of the races
I don't know
and
if that
the
makes
areas
sense
you're
to you.
from. And that
so
one half
you're
orc
more
that
than
you can
welcome
see
to do that,
would
and it
be
makes
a
perfect sense
a
to me.
good
You'll have to add an
representation
additional
of that as well.
+1
So
basing the
less than
initiative
10% of your
of
P
people
sword.
that
And
are,
then,
before you
considered
actually do anything, you'll have to make a charisma check to see if you are
livable
convincing.
individuals.
Hector,
that are
what is your
welcome in
intended
society would be
I'm
half
back.
orcs.
Moving.
And
Yeah,
Hector
it
is
is
going to move
definitely
forward and
not a
again
common
take
thing,
varying stance
and you
next
have to fight
Kalendric.
your own
Okay,
prejudices
Kalendric, what is your intended action?
to ignore the fact that Hector is a half orc.
Am I right to say that when second edition came out, there wasn't a half orc?
There was
Did
in the
they-
humanoid
you
handbook.
received there, Doc?
So, what was that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just
It's
waiting for
not
my
in the
turn
player's
to,
handbook as a playable
Michaela,
race.
what's your intended action?
Because they
Uh,
thought.
Kind of a
they
tight
thought
spot
that
where
it
he's
was,
at, but he
you know,
wants to move.
Do you remember when second edition came out in '89? It was
Forward and
right at the
and
end
I
of
was,
the
to
Satanic
north
Panic.
to-
I was playing
um,
full time at this time.
Oh,
Get
so
in a
I
position where you'll
remember
be able to
specifically
start playing.
they changed the
Okay,
name of
not a
demons
problem
and devils
whatsoever.
to Tenari and Betazu,
and if you're
they
moving,
got away
Hector,
from
if
lots of
that's all you're doing
things,
is
and
moving, just
they
roll
took
your
the half
default
orcs out
initiative
because the half orcs
from
were
the main
supposedly,
tab there.
Valiant,
what's your
too
intended action?
devilish. Of course, now they say that half.
I'm going to move forward as well.
Something entirely
with
different.
my
anyways.
horse
But
with
yes,
mace
it was
in
very,
hand.
very strange
Okay.
back at
And,
that time, and in America,
that's
moving
until I
forward
can
with your
see
mace
more.
being
This was
ready,
coming
right?
out at the
Okay.
end of what was known as
Yes.
the Satanic Panic.
Okay, so
That's
that's
just your mace,
initiative.
Google
Google when
Zachary?
you have some
I don't-
time the Jack
I will
Ship
be moving
articles and just
forward
read them. They're the
with my
funniest
bow
things.
ready.
So that's
Oh
your
no,
bow
no,
initiative.
I was born in the
He has
60s,
a equipping
so
spear.
I was playing D&D through the Satanic
And
Panic.
that's your yeah, me too. I wasn't born in the '60s, but I was playing D&D when I was 8, so I started, very young.
Steven, what do I roll? Charging?
Are you are you
So
really
basically,
charging?
none of you have a soul, is what you're saying.
Straight
You
line.
sold
Okay,
it off.
not a problem. So if you're really charging,
Well, I kind of
then
rented mine.
You roll
out.
initiative for
But
the
that's
weapon,
a different
but you actually have
style
a
of
minus
life,
one.
So you click
that's
minus
a
one?
different game. That was
Not
called
plus
like
one,
hose
because you'll
and
be
broaches.
acting a bit
That's what that
faster.
game was called. And you must move twice your movement in a straight line.
My move's
At this point
I
in
mean,
time,
right now.
what are we doing? That's 10. You must move 10.
Well, Zachary would like to explore the
So
cabin.
you must move in a straight
Yeah.
line, and you can move up
But
to 10.
we're worried that
not
there's
must
people in
move
here,
10.
one possible injured,
Right.
maybe a
But,
flavor of
when it's
half
your
orcs.
initiative,
So
we'll put your
we're
movement
trying
on
not
there
to get
for you.
surprised.
Trying not to get
All right,
surprised.
so it looks like Darius
as
is
opposed to
first.
trying
Darius,
to
you
get
were just
surprised.
moving, is that correct?
We've got lanterns.
Yes,
We've
but
got
it was
lanterns
simply
and a
right here
dwarf
next to
in
Zachary,
full- in,
and
metal
pull out
armor,
my
so,
sword and not look so threateningly.
you know,
Well, that,
Make
Jan-
it
assuming
Jansen
it's,
says,
I did. I rolled
assuming
it
it's,
yes,
it's
right
definitely
there.
not goblins or
Oh,
kobolds.
my bad. I apologize.
right.
No, don't worry about that. I didn't tell you to roll in the tower. So
So
one of the
that's
things,
a
the
D10
moment
though,
that
just
everyone
so-
steps foot
great.
inside the cave, a sharp challenge is issued, probably from, let's say, 30, 40 yards beyond your bit of light. I'm not showing the cave to everyone just yet because we don't need to. The challenge does not come out in common. It comes out in a different language. So I'm going to type it out, and some of you may or may not recognize it. So let us see. If anyone understood
Nothing?
that, tell me.
I see text.
So if you understood something, if you can translate it, then you understood it.
Okay.
I do not.
Nope. There's,
Dardania steps forward.
Nope. That looks
In
like a
what
password.
language? Can you whisper exactly what language that was
To whom?
to Dardania?
Okay.
Can I? Why would she know?
Calendric responds in a loud, confident dwarven voice. He states his name, his rank, and what he's doing there.
Whoa.
Say that. Obviously, you don't know Dwarven, but if you did, I'll give you lots of role-playing, points. But say your name and your rank and your full title for me, if you do not mind.
accent.
No accent. I'm not feeling good today. I don't recall the exact rank for the dwarven priest at this moment. But
Just
I
your
don't carry the
your class, the specialty priest name of your class is your rank, and you're a champion of that faith. And then your whole name, if you don't mind.
He strongly and commonly states name as Calendric of Clan Scarred Stone of the Iron Star, priest of can you help me with the name? Sorry, priest of Cladan.
Clang Eden Silverbeard. That sounded like a pirate. Sorry.
And Silverbeard, and we are here to rescue the stolen ones.
One voice shouts back at you, and this is the response. Again, in this other voice that's coming back in a slightly different form of graded stone. It's definitely Dethic. We've all figured this out because the dwarf is understanding it. It's not common, but it is a different type of Dethic. We know how you can obviously tell that someone is from a certain part of the world when they speak English in a certain way. Like northern Londoners or, people from deep down in Mississippi. They have tremendously different accents. These accents that you are hearing, Calendric's Dwarven sounds what you would expect a dwarf to sound like. The other one sounds like someone who is speaking it with a level of authority, but without a level of ownership of the language.
Calendric continues in Dwarven, Dethic, return the prisoners to us. Return, and you will not be harmed, and you can leave this cave alive.
Whoa.
Yes,
they haven't.
we challenge you. Indeed, we do. Come to the light and fight instead of dying like cowards you are.
If you're speaking in Dethic, shouldn't you whisper it to him so none of us would understand what's going on?
He should, but
Yeah,
we're
I'm
not
pretending
going
I don't understand what's going on, but I think we can start inferring something from the tone.
Oh, you most certainly could from the tone.
Yes. So, Zachary, shoot Calendric.
Oh, he has to be adjacent to me first.
Everybody sees Calendric saying this words you don't understand, pointing his battle axe at him, and then pointing it towards him, like come to us, like fight me. He has that kind of body language, like hitting himself with the axe, like come and fight us. So even though you don't understand the words, you definitely understand, or he wants to get the intention that he's yelling a challenge to someone.
Zachary knows there's a fight coming.
Yeah, I stab the spear next to Hector and pull out my longsword. This guy's gonna get us in trouble.
Oh boy. I hope sleep works on this guy.
Watch the old lady dragon slaver come out.
So just a moment, please, fellas. My map is misbehaving. I'm going to blame Docky for that.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, you.
You just seemed like you needed to be blamed. You didn't want to be left out, so.
Fair.
All right, so we do not immediately see exactly what is going on here. I'm going to share this map with everyone, and you're going to hear half a dozen or so footsteps trudging towards you, and in just a moment, you'll be able to make out that. But at this point, only one of you knows precisely what is going on and knows that it's ahead of you. You should all be able to see this map. Would you all turn and make sure you're facing to the left, because that's the way you should be facing. But there is another cry, more of like a battle cry that comes out that sounds very harsh and Klingon-like. And at this point, it's not obviously in Dwarven at all, nor is it in Common. It's more like, as you can hear footsteps coming towards everyone. No one is taken back and is surprised. So we're going to start with Alaric. What is your intended action?
Oh boy. Move around and provide light again?
Okay. Caliph, if Caliph is not here, Caliph is going to sneak off as he is.
Oh, Caliph is here. He will sneak off, as it were, without drawing weapons quite yet.
No problems. Daki?
Daki will move forward to the front flank a little bit. Kind of like...
Yeah, we're going to take spot.
Okay, not a problem. That is just your movement initiative, the default one.
Yep.
Okay. Dardania is doing what? Oh, I've fixed the round. Now you can roll initiative now, sorry.
What should I do here?
I'll come back to you. What's Darius doing?
Sword drawn, spear left and next to Hector. Hopefully he stays there. And can I move without losing a lot of time about here?
Yeah,
Just to
so
stand
this
next
is like
to
a
Zachary.
smooth section. So you have the actual movement shown on your character sheet. You're not outside in the hill. You're in a smooth interior of a cave. So you can move to there when it's your turn. But are you readying a weapon?
I draw my sword, but is it possible low ready so it's not menacingly, but it's out? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
So you're more than welcome to do that, and it makes perfect sense to me. You'll have to add an additional +1, basing the initiative off of your sword, and then before you actually do anything, you'll have to make a charisma check to see if you are convincing. Hector, what is your intended action?
I'm back here.
Moving. Hector is going to move forward and again take a parrying stance next to Kalendric.
Okay, Kalendric, what is your intended action?
Yelling a battle cry to the father of battle and charging straight to the sound of the noise.
Okay. Did you see the information you received there, Docky?
Yes.
Okay, no
I'm
problem.
just waiting for my turn to.
Mikello, what's your intended action?
Kind of a tight spot where he's at, but he wants to move forward and into to the north to try to get in a position where he'll be able to start flanking.
Okay, not a problem whatsoever. And if you're moving, Hector, if that's all you're doing is moving, just roll your default initiative from the main tab there. Valian, what's your intended action?
I'm going to move forward as well with my horseman's mace in hand.
Okay.
And
so that's moving forward with your mace being ready, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's just your mace initiative. Zachary?
I'll also be moving forward with my bow ready.
That's your bow initiative then, okay?
He is equipping spear.
Okay, so then that's your spear initiative.
Steven, what do I roll if I'm charging?
Are you really charging?
Yeah, straight line.
Okay, not a problem. So if you're really charging, then you roll initiative for the weapon, but you actually have a -1, so you click -1, not +1, because you'll be acting a bit faster, and you must move twice your movement in a straight line.
My move score says 5 right now.
So that's 10. You must move 10. So you must move in a straight line, and you can move up to 10, not must move 10, right? But when it's your initiative, we'll put your movement on there for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, so it looks like Darius is first. Darius, you were just simply moving, am I correct?
Yes, but it was simply right here next to Zachary, and pull out my sword, not look so threateningly.
Make your charisma check, please.
I did. I rolled it
in the tower.
right there.
Thank you.
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
No, don't worry about that. I didn't tell you to roll in the tower the first time. That's a D10 though, just so. Oh, great. That should actually be an 11. Oh, well, yeah, you put the -1 in there. Good, yeah, the -1 came up. Great. So he seems to be quite convincing. He's not really intending to do battle. Whether or not that will have any effect upon the individuals that you can hear you don't really know yet. Another very, regimented sound is made just before Docky gets to act, and you can hear stomping as if perhaps half a dozen individuals are lining up together in a formation. Docky, what's your intended action? Or what are you doing? Sorry.
My first intended action is to announce to everybody that these are most likely hobgoblins ahead of us. And with that said, I will.
Hobgoblins.
Yep, I will move just to the front and join the front flank.
Okay, there you are. And end your turn in the combat tracker for me. A few moments ago.
Yeah. Initiative. Okay. Well, I am gonna move to here. Excuse me.
You can't really walk through people, remember.
Ah, sorry.
Well, you can push her down if you want. I mean, she doesn't want to do anything anyway. She's just extra, eye candy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna move to there.
Okay, and you've moved to there, no problem whatsoever. End your turn.
Yeah.
Michaelo?
Yeah, we're bottlenecked. This is not good. Not good. Come on, drag, there you go. He's going to move, but just to there. At least it's only 2 ranks of people between him and the enemy rather than
Okay.
3 at this point.
End your turn in the combat tractor. Hector? What is Hector doing?
Hector is parrying.
Okay, so he's just holding his ground, looking for something to be incoming. Got you. Attempting to parry anything that comes at him. So end your turn in the combat tractor.
I can't really. Apologies. I can't really move forward at the moment. So.
Well, you can knock people down. Get them out of your way.
Yeah.
Get out of our way. Zachary?
None of that.
Okay, so Zachary will move to there.
Okay.
And ready his weapon.
Yeah, you've got your bow ready at this point, I understand. Valian?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to move. Am I able to
You can't really
hold my
squeeze
movement?
you can't really squeeze anybody by anyone. And if you want to hold an action, it has to be declared at the beginning because it delays your initiative, right? So you can move a little bit, or you can push them out of your way if you want.
I don't want to be mean. I guess for now I'm just gonna.
You're holding your mace, going. Got you.
Yeah, I have no choice. I'll hit arrow.
Thank you, Caliph.
All right. Well, I'll get out in the front because why not? And I'll try and stand over here.
You can't walk through people. You can try. Hector's pretty tough to push out of the way.
No, you can't walk diagonally.
Well, you would be walking through him. So you.
All right, then I will climb. How tall are the walls? I'll climb the walls over them.
Oh well, you can move to the wall, and try to climb the wall.
I will try and climb the wall.
So look at your skills section. The ceiling here is about 15 feet high, right? Look at this skills section and drop your climb walls into. Actually, just roll it in the open because I think it'd be funny if you fall. So you just very quickly scurried up. You're about 10 feet up the wall there, and you're just mostly upside down at this point. You've got a little bit more you can crawl to where you can get to the actual apex of the ceiling. That's where you are at this point.
Great.
And I'm going to move to Kalendric. Kalendric, go ahead.
So he's going in a straight line. I know the light only shows so much, but calculate correctly as he departs the light, his infravision should kick in.
Your infravision doesn't kick in immediately. It takes a moment for you to adjust from the 2 different types of light. It's not an immediate thing.
Well then, doesn't change my plan. Moving forward until I hit something that I can smash with my axe. I hate hobgoblins. They're on the front of my religion.
4,
They need to die.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's where you have charged to right there at that point. Okay. Dardania hadn't declared anything, so we're just going to leave her there. Okay. Just hold on one moment. I'm just turning someone down in Discord for a moment. So you still, your vision hasn't adjusted just yet, but you hear a unified marching towards you. And you can barely make out a handful of things. I'm going to go ahead and show them to you just so that you will recognize where they are as they marched into you, not the other way around. You ran as far as you could, and they stepped up, all brandishing spears and holding shields, and there is a shield wall with spears right where they are. And the dwarf should be able to make them out. The rest of you can make out some of them, perhaps, depending upon how it is. But your infravision is there. Infravision is not perfect. It just shows heat outlines, so it is not, perfect night vision or dark vision or any such thing. They obviously cannot move to attack you because they are moving in formation at this point. And no one else has done anything, so it is next round. And I'm going to ask Zachary, what would you like to do?
Well, I shout, bring the light up, and I stay in my own position.
Okay.
And ready action.
So ready your bow, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's your bow initiative. Valian?
This round, I'm going to try to move around Dardania and get in a position to fight with my mace if I have to.
Understood. Okay, so that'll be your mace initiative.
Yeah.
And Michaelo?
Michaelo's going to. He really wants to move forward, but there's too many people standing around in the way. To try and get light up there. He's going to. Well, if he. Well, I'm going to have to if it. If Hector and or Dardania move up or get knocked down, he's going to move forward.
Okay, so that's an if. You've added an if.
Yes.
So
So it's
that'll
a
be your
+1.
default initiative and a +1. That's right. Hector, what's your intended action?
Hector is going to move up to cover Calendric's right flank.
Okay, not a problem. So that will be preparing with your spear to move up, right? Darius?
Straightforward, sword up, ready to fight. Same thing. I'm trying to get close enough to see something and attack if I can.
Okay, not a problem whatsoever. So that'll be your sword initiative. Dardania, is Dardania doing anything?
Dardania is moving.
Okay. That will be her default movement initiative. I'll roll it for you so you don't have to switch character sheets. Okay, so I've rolled her initiative. And Daki?
Doc, you also move forward, so just default.
And Kaleth?
I will also move forward, but on the ceiling.
All right, so that's
Or
half your
close
movement,
to
and you have to make a successful climb walls check. Failing your climb walls means you will fall 15 feet straight down, just so you know.
Hopefully landing on a soft target. Yes.
All right, so
How many feet?
15 feet is what he would fall. And it'll be half your movement. And Alaric.
So, Alaric, sorry, quick question. I cannot move diagonally to in front of Hector, right?
Is there a person in front of you diagonally?
No.
So then you can move diagonally. You just can't go through a person. When you drag your miniature movement, it can't be going through a person.
Gotcha.
Hector's already stated he's moving.
So I will be moving and bringing the light forward.
Bless should be gone, by the way, so I will take that off of
Okay, so
everyone.
we can move diagonally.
Yes, it's actually 7.5 feet instead of 5 feet to move diagonally.
Yeah,
as long as you don't actually go through a person. Yeah.
From moving diagonally.
All right, hold on. Okay, so all of you have rolled your initiative. When it gets to your turn, I will make sure Bless is gone. So, Michaelo, you are first.
And I can move.
Did Cal roll initiative?
40 feet.
Did you roll initiative, Kellenbor? Sorry, not Kellenbor, Kalendric?
Does my charge bonus carry over?
Not to this round, no.
So just a normal X initiative, right?
Yes. Understood. And we'll end your turn, Michaelo.
Oh, sorry.
It's actually Daki will be next. Go ahead, Daki.
Okay, Doc, you'll move forward, joining Michaela.
Okay. End your turn.
Yep, I'm on it.
Kaleth, you have to roll your climb walls out in the open, and you can move 30 feet hanging from the ceiling if you don't fall.
I
that's
do not
6
fall.
squares. That is correct. You're like, ha ha!
I'm gonna go over here to the front line.
From hanging from the ceiling.
What a squirrely little dude.
Spider-Man.
Would you end your turn for me? All right, all of these creatures are acting simultaneously. As you can hear, they are ordering things to occur about, and they are moving in a unified fashion.
Oh no.
Just a moment.
Nice knowing you, dwarf.
We will start with the first hobgoblin, who has a flanking bonus with its spear. Doesn't speak in Dwarven, but obviously it's some kind of an insult that is yelled at the dwarf. The spear bounces off of the dwarf as the dwarf is obviously still holding his ground bravely at this point, no fear in his eyes at all. The next of these creatures is directly behind the dwarf, hoping to stab him in his back, screaming at the top of his lungs. You'll notice that he hit the dwarf for 2 points of damage. Kalendric was wounded there, doesn't let out much more than a grunt as the spear jabbed him in his back. The next hobgoblin, this one is the one that decided to face the dwarf, swinging at him, jabbing with his spear, hitting, causing 4 points of damage. This hobgoblin here, facing him from a flanking bonus, is attacking again with his spear, yelling further insults, hitting. Having done 5 points of damage, Kalendric has taken a total of 11 points of damage and is exactly at 0 hit points. So he's actually still standing. If he does anything that is hostile or that requires a lot of effort, he will lose a hit point, but there's one more hobgoblin that's attacking him anyway. As this hobgoblin's spear hit as well. Doing 2 points of damage, obviously knocking the dwarf into unconsciousness. The dwarf is now at -2 hit points. He will survive until -10, perhaps even longer, we do not know. As soon as the dwarf fell, another order was made. And you can see each of these hobgoblins attempting to turn and face and line up again. Dardania?
Righty, Dardania is going to move forward, spear in hand.
You want me to move her just forward?
Let's see here.
Okay. Is that where you want to stop? Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Wait.
Valian.
She'll study on, what is her AC? Okay. Oh, we gotta get in there and save him.
Okay, I'm gonna move as far as I possibly can, which is I did have that sheet up.
So you can actually take a double move, but you just won't be able to attack. But you rolled initiative with your mace. So you can move 9 because you didn't declare you wanted to make a double move earlier. So you can move 45 feet is what you can move. I'm so used to playing at the tabletop, I say squares.
Ah, okay. So double movement has to be declared as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As does a run and all that stuff, right? So.
Got it.
Maneuvering up to that point. And Kalendric, we are sorry. It's going to tick away a hit point, but that's not what should happen because you actually haven't been unconscious for a round. Hector.
I'm going to have to go underneath Calith, but he's still climbing. Am I correct?
That is correct. So that you're not going through him. He's still 15 foot up on the ceiling going, hoping to drop down. You can move 60 feet.
In addition?
Say that again.
60 feet in a solid action.
Yeah, you have a movement of 12, so yes.
Okay.
Because you are not encumbered at all.
How far can I move and still parry?
30 feet.
Get there.
Yeah, that's close enough. We're not really going to fight over minuscule differences on that there. End your turn, please.
Yep. Sure.
Darius.
I have a movement of 9. How far can I go?
That's 45 feet.
We can't keep feeding them people.
No, I was curious, but if I move 45 feet, I can't attack, right?
That's all of your movement. You can't attack, correct? You can only move up to half.
So half would be 20 feet?
22 and a half feet.
Yeah, but 22 and a half. Boom.
See, there you go.
All right.
You got 22 and a half feet, see?
Can I hit next?
You can definitely hit next. There's no problem. Alaric.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I'm going to start calling you Mrs. Okay. You're welcome, Mrs. I'll throw in my fake British accent and say, you're welcome, Mom. All right, there. I see what we're doing here.
No.
What are you trying to do there? I don't quite get it, Antonio. You can't walk through the walls. You know that.
Yeah. My move wasn't finished yet.
So that's a good excuse, I suppose.
Yep.
All right, just end your turn there, sir. Zachary, it's your turn.
Okay, Zachary will move to there and then fire off these arrows.
So we have nothing else to do, so you're going to get both of your arrow shots. These hobgoblins are not engaged in melee because the thing they were just fighting is unconscious and bleeding out, so they're not engaged in melee combat. Also, by the way, there would be no friends that you have in your arc of fire, so you might fire at one hobgoblin and accidentally hit a different one if they were engaged in melee combat. Fire away with your first arrow. You are attacking from behind, so this is a +2. Doesn't matter, you hit.
Kayla, run!
Damage.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, one arrow straight through the back of this hobgoblin, slaying it.
You say +2, is that correct?
Well, you're still from the back of this one, so +2. Only thieves get greater than +2.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Grazing this hobgoblin.
That lands up perfectly average.
End your turn. Just click the next actor. So it is the next round. You can tell immediately that all of these hobgoblins grunt something in their language as they're attempting to form up again together. So we're going to ask Zachary what's his intended action.
I will continue raining down death upon these vile creatures.
Okay, you will be attempting to do so, I understand. And Darius?
I Torm, straight in, if I can, straight into their lines. Longsword.
Okay, understood. So that'll be
but
your
not if,
but
only half my movement, because I want to be able to move.
You want to be able to attack. I got you, understand. So that's your longsword initiative. And I'm not sure why I jumped to the middle. Hector, what do you want to do?
Charging.
Okay, it's initiative. Charging has to be a straight line, remember. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And charging will be whatever the weapon is, but it's a -1 instead of a +1, so it's a -1 because you'll be doing it a little bit faster. I'll tell you what, I'll put the charge effect on you. Don't worry about. I forgot there's an effect for
Under
it.
minus. Yeah, +1 or minus?
Don't worry about it. You don't do anything. I just put the effect on you, right? Roll your initiative for your spear. Kalendric, I'm sorry, you're bleeding out. You can give them moral support or spiritual support. Michaelo?
Coming, buddy.
Question: sure. If Michaelo stood his ground and hurled a dagger from here at Hobgoblin 4, would assuming he gets that off before anybody else moves, Hobgoblin 4?
Yeah, Hobgoblin 4. Okay.
One up here.
Yeah, this one right here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just no. That 25 foot is pointing towards Hobgoblin 2. Or no, there you go. assuming Hector, Darius, Alaric don't get their move off before I throw the dagger.
So as long as they are not actively engaged in melee combat
Okay.
before you
As
throw.
long as they're not actually okay, yeah. So he's going to stand his ground and throw his dagger because he wants that.
Okay. Remember, you can throw 2 daggers in a round, by the way.
Yes.
So, and daggers are fast. That's a 7, so it's not too terribly bad, all things considered. And that was just Valian.
I'm going to. I got to get to Calendric. So I'm going to try to move forward a little bit this time. I'm still obviously.
Can I just
holding
offer, before Valian finishes his advice? Can I just offer 2 pieces of wisdom very quickly? And I know Antonio is keeping quiet because he knows these things already. So I'm not really spoiling something. The 2 things that I want to say is, 1, any healing magic that you put on that dwarf, unless it's the Paladin's Lay on Hands, is just going to bring him to 1 hit point, and he's going to suffer death sickness and be useless for a whole day. But he's only at -4. So -3, -2. He'll be at -3 at the end of this round. So you have 7 rounds to get to him. So it's not super urgent right now. You're not going to get him back into fighting shape, but you've got 7 rounds to make sure he doesn't die. Okay. Secondly, you've got pretty good archers, and I know you've got heavy melee people, but use your missile weapons first. Just always unload with your missile weapons until you can't anymore, and then send in your heavily armored people. That way you don't have to worry about friendly fire in that regards. So just those 2 things might be something that we want to keep. A Lay on Hands is different. Yeah, the Paladin's Lay on Hands will get rid of death sickness and heal, but you do have 7 rounds to get to the dwarf. He won't be dead the next round. Okay. So I don't know if that affects what Valian wants to do or not.
I still want to get closer. I know that these melee people aren't just going to fucking stand here. They're going to charge in.
Hopefully, right?
And I want to be in better position for next round.
Understood.
That's my,
Okay, so roll initiative with your mace if you're getting ready with your mace, or if you're just moving, just your default movement initiative. There we go. And who haven't I asked? Daki?
Alaric.
And Alaric. What do you want to do?
So I will cast Sleep.
Cast Sleep, okay. Don't forget casting time, area of effect at the time of the spell will be what is important. Calith?
I will climb forward. Does the ceiling increase in height, or is it the same everywhere?
It does beyond where the hobgoblins are, but right now it's still only 15 feet. Yes.
All right. Well, then I will just continue forward until, presumably, I'm on the other side of them if I can, if they charge forward.
Yes.
But I'm not going to go down yet.
Okay, not a problem. You're going to wait until an opportune moment. Daki?
Daki will move in with his longsword.
What you're actually seeing at this point, Kalendra, because you were fading in and out of consciousness, but you're beginning to hear the sounds of someone working a forge. It's a smooth, rhythmic pounding that is very entrancing, and it's beckoning to you, but at the same time, you're hearing your companions preparing to battle, and you haven't quite yet decided to abandon them. So you're in between that. There's no light. It's a sound of a forge. That's what you're hearing at this point. Alrighty, so we have initiatives rolled, and it looks like Alaric is first with the 1. So, target all the hobgoblins. Get ready to cast. First thing, before you actually click cast, we have to roll Wild Surge, don't forget, okay? To see if a Wild Surge occurs. Alrighty, so before you click cast, let me open those 2 tables for you. Share them with you.
Are they the same table every time?
Yes, but it changes by level. Well, they're actually already on the character sheet. I just know where they are. Roll on this table first.
Okay.
So that's an 8. And there will be nothing unusual about the spell whatsoever. So
okay.
As you toss a pinch of sand up.
Oh, okay. for not none nor holes, it does not have the other table.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Only if you roll a certain number. So there's a 5% chance that a wild surge effect will come from normal spells. But Nahals is where you're using wild magic to try to create another spell. So it will always have a wild surge.
Gotcha. Okay, sleep then. Okay, let me see. Let me just throw in 2d4.
Oh, the action wasn't set up?
The action is set up, but it's set up as sleep.
Okay, so you have... Yeah, just put sleep on all of them. Because that is enough.
There you go.
So they have all fallen asleep where they stood, just fell straight down at that point.
Go get them, boys!
So we are no longer in a tactical situation. It is suggested by the DM that the paladin lay on hands, because other than the heal spell, you won't get this death sickness out of the dwarf, and he'll be useless for a day, and all of the memorized spells that he had will be lost, etc. But lay on hands will overcome that, and it'll still bring him to 1 hit point. Yeah, so lay on hands is, it's not a lot of hit points, but it cures that death effect as well.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Hobgoblins, evil. So we don't do what we did last time. Are we just dispatching them? No trial, no hanging, just dispatching monsters, right? That's
Hobgoblins, by and far, are enemies of every single race on the planet, including races that you would consider to be evil. You are lucky that you encountered only lowly hobgoblin warriors and not hobgoblin samurai.
So it is just, and it is correct that we stabbed them in the throat.
And it was and Kalendric was correct in what he did according to his religion. So you guys, he was entirely correct in what he did according to his religion.
When he lays on hands on Kalendric, I'm kind of like right there in front of him, and I commend him that his heart is as true as his steel. That was a fair charge.
I do not know this, so I am judging. I'm going to lay hands. Stephen, could I describe real quick?
Please do so.
Remember, I am judging this moron for what he did, because I do not understand that, but completely. I'm grabbing the symbol of Torm, placing my hand on his chest, and sweat is beating. This is the first time I've actually used it, other than that event that happened. And I'm going to nervously implore, and please let this work, please let this work, please let me be worthy. Last time I did this, it didn't work out. So, laying hands, extremely nervous, first time actually using it for real. And Torm, I don't understand. I know he thinks he did the right thing, but please, give this fool a second chance. He's fighting for noble reasons, as foolish as he may be. In your light, please bring justice to this world for Kalendric. Sweat coming down my head. Very, very low confidence in doing this.
Kalendric, that could be in. That doesn't need to be out of character. It is in character. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah. So, quick question. In these lands, what would prove that you have slain, let's say, a goblin or a hobgoblin, that sort of thing?
Well, it depends upon who you are. If Darius can prove that he is a paladin of Torm, his word will function. If Alaric was a war mage, like a sigiled mage, his word would function. If Valian can prove he's a Morning Lord, his word will function. Zachary, I think, has a... I thought he had the Justifier kit. If he had some things that belong to what you are, Zachary might be able to prove it just based off of his word. Hector, as a purple dragon, that's a half orc, would have to have the ear. Dardania would have to have the ear. Docky.
Perfect.
Docky could
prove it if he wanted to by simply admitting he's a blade singer, but he wouldn't really advertise that to all these humans, so he probably wouldn't waste his time. Caleth would probably have to pay people to believe that he was involved, even if he did have evidence.
So my intention is to cut off one of the ear of each of these, as in case we get into a settlement that would reward us for dispatching such creatures. I do have the ears to show them.
Okay, no problem. And Kalendric as a champion could prove it should he choose to speak as well, because he would be believable. I'm sorry that we have to end it here. It's midnight here, and then I have to get up and have a game in the morning, and Antonio has to get up and travel to my house for a game in the morning.
So, did the lay of hands work, or do we find out in 2 weeks?
Oh, the lay of hands definitely worked. Yes. Kel is at 1 hit point.
I'm not the spitting image of confidence here.
No, it by all means worked. I just want to quickly go over. I haven't added role-playing experience in, and some of you will be getting a significant amount of role-playing experience. But as it stands right now, believe it or not, the thief has enough experience to gain a level.
Yeah.
Woo! Wow.
Woo!
Nice.
It's that wall climbing.
It was the arrows. It was the arrows.
That is the balancing mechanic for thieves. That they gain levels so fast. You'll be like 3rd level and they're 9th.
Yeah, so you'll be stuck on the ceiling until for 2 weeks.
No, he climbed down. That's fine. He climbed down as far as that goes. Some of the rest of you are closing in, especially when I add your role-playing experience in, which I will do probably Tuesday. I think our bard actually has enough to almost gain level, and with his role-playing experience, he probably will, to be honest with you. Because they have such low experience tables. But I will send everybody their experience. Do you want to know as a group, or do you just want to know your individual experience in private?
I would love it as a group. It makes no difference to Darius.
Okay, so not a problem. I'll make sure to tell everybody as a group then, as far as that goes. I appreciate it. Once we really get the hang of how things work, things will go much, much faster. I do apologize that we haven't really accomplished too terribly much today. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Any complaints, please send them to me, and we will make sure to adjust things as long as your complaints are reasonable and it's not just Steven's an asshole. I can leave the server up for just a few minutes, but not very long, because I have to actually update my computer, and I've got to do some things on that computer as well.
I think Zachary should get bonus XP for shooting Caleb. It's a hard target to hit.
No.
That's the damn skeleton.
Okay, at least Caleb should get to keep the arrows. He should be able to keep them.
He does get bonus XP for how he role-played it at the end of it, though. I thought that was very exceptional that he walked up and offered a heartfelt apology and something to help with the wound. So that's what he will get some bonus experience for. And our Priest of Lathander will get good bonus role-playing experience for his prayers. I greatly appreciate that. You do have positive hit points. You have 1 hit point right now. Notice you've taken 10 points of damage and you're at 1 hit point. So you can heal yourself if you want. Because the lay on hands prevented you from losing your spells in memory. Do you have Cure Light Wounds? As you're only talking in Deathic, or you're talking to me?
No, the Bard does, and the Priest does.
Bard has psionic cellular manipulation, which he can use. Would use.
Dardania has it as well.
Well, we can heal him now, or before next, or at the start of next session.
Next session, you have to leave. But Steven, don't forget the priest, the clue. He saved Darius also during a fight.
I keep notes of everything there, and I've got quite a lot of bonus experience to add to people, and then I've got to add individual class awards and all those kinds of things. So we'll make sure that everybody gets all their experience, okay?
Thanks for teaching us how to play. This has been pretty fucking cool.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Goodbye later, and thank you.
Thanks, guys.